took the weight of the world on his back, bleeding love down a dirt-stained track. Every step cut deep, every breath in pain, still he carried my cross through the darkness and pain. I should have been the one, I should have paid that price, but mercy stood where I should have died. He walked for me, bled for me, through the fire, through the agony. Love so fierce it broke my chains. The Lamb of God still knows my name. He took my place, set my spirit free. Jesus walked that road for me. They drove those nails, the sky turned black, the thunder rolled, no turning back. He cried, "It's done," and bowed his head. The grave was full, but it couldn't hold him dead. 3 days later, the stone rolled wide. Now death defeated, my King's alive. They walked for me, bled for me, through the fire, through the agony. Love so fierce it broke my chains. The Lamb of God still knows my name. He took my place, set my spirit free. Jesus walked that road for me. Oh, the blood still speaks my name, washes me clean, burns away my shame. Hands raised high, I'm not the same. He walked that road, now I'm unchained. He walked for me, bled for me, carried my cross to set me free. Love, eternal victory, my Savior lives. He walked for me.
talking about what Trump and Xi did or didn't agree to in Beijing. But the real story is something no corrupted City of London envoy, no Keir Starmer, no Mark Carney will ever have. Trump and Xi have a personal friendship, and that friendship is totally rewiring global economic and strategic relationships. Vladimir Putin heads to Beijing Tuesday to get briefed. And London is screaming because once again, Trump has outfoxed them by just being himself. I'm Barbara Boyd, and I've followed the clash between the British financial empire and Donald Trump's American system economics since 1971, when Nixon crashed Bretton Woods and London became the world's financial power again. Today, I'm telling you about the most important thing to come out of Trump's China visit, why Mark Carney can't stop it, and why London's Democrat insurgency here is taking major body blows. But first, hit the like button and share this video. It increases our reach on YouTube. Now, what really happened in China? Well, here is the real story about China. Xi gave Trump a tour of the secret garden housing his government, a tour he says he shared previously only with President Putin. Yes, there were trade deals, but personal relationship is the point. The backdrop. Trump has moved aggressively to take China out of the Western Hemisphere, Panama, Venezuela, potentially Cuba. The Iran war endangers China's petroleum-dependent economy. But while China is Iran's main customer, most of China's oil and gas come from Russia and other Gulf states Iran keeps attacking. So with all this trouble for China, why does Donald Trump get the secret garden tour previously reserved for Putin? Because Trump is making the strategic situation with China open and stable, just like he did with Putin in Alaska. The U.S. and China are in a race for the scientific and technological discoveries that will define the next generation. The visit began establishing the guardrails for that race, based on the personal friendship between Donald Trump and Xi Jinping. Was the Iran war discussed? Of course, including this from the president yesterday. For Iran, the clock is ticking, and they better get moving fast, or there won't be anything left of them. Time is of the essence. Trust comes only from personal friendship. They don't teach that at Harvard's Kennedy School or Georgetown. In fact, they teach the opposite. Here's Marco Rubio talking about the U.S. and China.
And China now dominates that market. So I always said it, and I always said it when I was in the Senate. China's doing what I would do if I were Chinese and I were a Chinese leader. They are trying to dominate the world in all these key industries of the future. We may not like it, but that's what they're going to do because they're acting in their best interest. We have to act in our best interest. I'm the Secretary of State of the United States, and before that, as you pointed out, a senator for the United States.
And that oil shock that was supposed to kill China's economy? Well, cargo to China is getting through, and Treasury Secretary Bessent has lifted U.S. sanctions on Russian exports. Conservative Treehouse makes a similar observation about deepened trust being the whole point of the visit. He notes that right after last year's Alaska summit, Russia started producing massive amounts of natural gas and storing it on ships with no immediate buyer. Was the Iran action being planned covertly even then? Xi plays the long game of physical economic development. He recognizes that Donald Trump is a master of the same game. Trump is seizing the market for oil and gas for the United States worldwide, for allies the United States can trust. At the same time, Trump is making the nuclear investments to lead the next century. That's leverage few others see, but Xi sees it clearly. His economy depends on it. Now, if you're starting to see that the real dynamics shaping events aren't anything the media will say or print, get a free newsletter at PrometheanAction.com. We'll give you the orientation you need to fight the present war for our republic. Now, Democrats here and their City of London friends think they have a plan to defeat Donald Trump and his new strategic map. Right now, they're cheering Iran on. They hope Iran wins or at least traps Trump in a long war. Their support for Iran, of course, is only prolonging the war. Blame them for the price at the pump. They've anointed candidate Mark Carney as their international spokesperson. Carney went to Davos in January and said Trump destroyed the rules-based order from which these people massively profited. Carney said the middle powers must now act together against China and the U.S. Last week, he met with Barack Obama and other Democrat officials to plot their third way in elections here. But there's a huge problem. This isn't Carney's first attack on the United States. His whole career has been spent trying and failing to take down the dollar as the world's reserve currency. First, let's look at London's attempted capture of China. As governor of the Bank of England from 2013, Carney was George Osborne's hand-picked instrument for what they called the Golden Era, the city's project to become the Western capital of Chinese finance. Under Carney, the UK became the first G7 country to sign a currency swap with Beijing, the first to issue renminbi sovereign debt, and the first to host People's Bank of China bond issuance outside China. The UK also joined China's Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank over U.S. objection. The idea was to spread green energy infrastructure throughout Eurasia for mutual profit. Key UK personnel, like former UK Treasury official Sir Danny Alexander, had key posts there. The Golden Era project collapsed over controversies over Huawei, Hong Kong, and COVID. The second project was the BRICS. Carney spent 13 years at the London branch of Goldman Sachs, the same firm whose chief economist, Joe O'Neill, coined BRICS as the framework for a non-Western financial order. The outcome there? The BRICS haven't replaced the dollar because they can't. The United States is no longer in managed decline as it was under Biden. It's thriving under Trump, who is striving to make separate deals with all of the BRICS countries. Next, Carney tried to sell replacing the dollar with a synthetic currency. At Jackson Hole in August 2019, while still the BOE's governor, Carney urged central banks to replace the U.S. dollar with a, quote, synthetic hegemonic currency delivered through central bank digital currencies. The outcome? The proposal was rejected by the Fed and ignored by the markets. Finally, the coup d'etat, trying to make green finance the globalist controller of all capital investment. As UN Special Envoy for Climate Action and Finance, Carney built the Green Finance Initiative for Net Zero to direct $130 trillion in private capital toward, quote, transition assets with the City of London and Chinese green tech as primary beneficiaries. But Donald Trump obliterated the Green New Deal, and BlackRock and JP Morgan exited the alliance in January 2025. So Carney isn't the new shaman for a third way. He's the undertaker of the old one, trying to rebrand it as a renaissance. Keir Starmer was his partner. Just look at this mass protest in London on Saturday against unchecked immigration and financial looting. Does it look like their product enjoys mass support? Which brings us right back to the United States. 3 weeks ago, the doom scrollers had a story they loved. Trump was going to get shellacked in the midterms. The base was demoralized. Democrats were measuring the drapes. What a difference the run-up to the China trip made. While the president was in Beijing starting the reordering of the global economy, his team here was delivering the accountability voters have been waiting 9 years to see. Here's Acting Attorney General Todd Bench with Maria Bartiromo yesterday.
Well, there's a ton of evidence that the election was rigged. That's not something the DOJ needs to tell you about. There's been evidence about that for many, many years. What I can tell you is that we have multiple investigations going on in Arizona, in Georgia, in Fulton County, Georgia, and that's exactly what we're looking at. By the way, this is very difficult because they're very good. They're very good at hiding up misconduct and hiding what they're doing. And so that's why we're very focused on finding out whether the right people voted, whether people who were supposed to vote voted, whether there was one vote cast per voter. And that's what we're doing in multiple states.
Yes, the 2020 election was rigged, and the DOJ is looking at multiple prosecutions. How's that for a Sunday admission? Then Blanche pinned the Russiagate coup on Barack Obama directly.
The whole Russia hoax, there was absolutely nothing to it. And so the question that the American people have to ask is, well, then why did they do it? Why did Comey say what he said? Why did the outgoing Obama administration do what they did? And that's what we're studying right now, because it did great damage to this country. It did great damage to President Trump's first term. And we want to understand why that happened, why there continued to be an effort by operatives in the government to go after President Trump while he was in office, and then, of course, over the past several years as well.
And it's not just Blanche. Here's Vice President Vance on the National Fraud Task Force, converting investigation into convictions and recovering the trillions in entitlement and program fraud that has quietly funded the Democratic Party machine for a generation.
Well, we just have to prosecute as much as we can, and we have to accept that, yes, there are going to be some blue states that fight us, but that doesn't mean we can't do our job. And for every person that slips through the cracks because of a crooked judge, we're going to get 10 people who actually go to prison or suffer real consequences for it. And we're also saving the American people a lot of money. You know, one of the things I've learned as vice president, I think the president, of course, appreciated this from his first term, is that you can have a rock solid case, you can have a fraudster, you can have them dead to rights, you can have them literally in a text message confessing to the crime, but sometimes you're still going to have corrupt judges. I think it drives home the importance of getting better judges in the system, but also going after this stuff in a number of ways.
The voters can feel it. Ask Bill Cassidy, the Louisiana rhino who voted to convict Trump in 2021. He just got resigned from his office by Louisiana voters. And the political revolution isn't happening just in Washington, it's happening in Los Angeles. Spencer Pratt's insurgent campaign for LA mayor is doing what the Republican establishment has been incapable of for 30 years. Speaking out loud what millions of Americans know but have been trained to shut up about. He's doing it with AI ads that get past the gatekeepers, hitting the issues Carney's friends spent years trying to bury. Parents who don't recognize their own cities, schools, and culture anymore. Here's my new favorite.
All right, class, great job today.
Hey, I have to tell you something. Promise you won't get mad? I'm voting for Spencer Pratt.
Get mad?
I'm voting for Spencer Pratt, too.
Did someone mention Spencer Pratt? No?
No.
Oh, because I'm actually voting for him.
Oh, so are we. I just don't know if we can say that too loud over here.
Say what? Spencer Pratt? He's got my vote.
Gotcha,
Wait,
bitch.
Is everyone here voting for Spencer Pratt?
His hidden constituents are the moms. Meanwhile, here's what the current mayor of Los Angeles is offering. Teeth for meth addicts. Because, in her words, you can't succeed without good teeth.
How many people who are unhoused that you meet have no teeth at all? They don't have teeth. Why? Because meth rots your teeth. You can't succeed without teeth. So there needs to be comprehensive health care provided to people.
That is the Democratic Party Mark Carney's third way is charged with cleaning up and selling. That's the brand Keir Starmer can't defend in the streets of London. And that's the brand that loses to a reality TV star with an iPhone and an AI generator because reality has shifted in ways the elites and their media lackeys can't understand. Mark Carney can give all the Davos speeches he wants. Keir Starmer can shuffle his cabinet. The protests in the UK streets tell you everything. The people they've been looting for decades are done. So are the Russians, the Chinese, and leaders who aren't blind everywhere. That's the real story coming out of Beijing. Now London's elites, their friends in the EU, and the Democratic allies here are badly wounded. But they're not out of the action yet. And there's nothing more dangerous than a wounded and desperate beast. We need to really expand Promethean action ahead of the midterms. We need...
Welcome, Patriots. Welcome to Feisty Digs, episode 43. I hope everybody had a great weekend. And we are ready for our next episode of 43. We are on episode 43 of Feisty Digs. Boy, we have come a long way. And it is so good to be here. So good to see everybody over in Rumble. We are streaming on X as well. I hope everybody had a great weekend. I know I did. It feel like it's been forever since I've streamed. And thank you to everybody who joined us last night for Patriot Theater. But we've got a lot to get into and little time. So let's get Feisty on the screen. Hello, Feisty. How was your weekend?
It was great.
Was it?
Yes. I watched the Rededicate America?
What is it?
The revival that happened on the mall yesterday.
Oh,
It was fabulous.
that does sound interesting. So I'm going to get to all the thank yous. Actually, better yet, we already got Dixie. Thank you for the banger shades.
Started it before we even went.
Yeah, Dixie never fails. God bless you, Dixie, for your continued support, and I truly, truly mean that. And speaking of continued support as well, Just Fed Up with a phone call. Thank you so much, Just Fed Up, and good to see you as well. And Izzy Q with the banger shades. Thank you, Izzy Q. Good to see you as well. Love this Monday with Feisty. Yeah, I hope everybody looks forward to these Mondays. I know I do. I love the time slot, frankly. I never thought in a million years I would be able to do a show.
Do something during the day.
I know, right?
Well, you see, it gives you time to sleep in.
Sure does.
You're spry.
Yeah.
Ready to go.
Yep. And I didn't sleep very well last night, but
And if I get to launch you, you're fired up for the day.
good to see Aqualux Maiden. I think I figured it out, or Ash told me. PGH maybe stands for Pittsburgh. Am I correct in that, Maiden? Pittsburgh. Good to see you, Wanda. Where we go one, we go all. GTG, good to go. JJ, what's up, JJ? Only one NRS. We got the lovely Marissa DNC. Guys, show some love to our amazing, beautiful, badass mods out there when you see them. And good to see Tammy. Oh, we got Duppy in the chat. Uh-oh. Bearish Mama. Who else we got? Let's see. Awaken Mom, Karen Hare, Ron Elwitt, TW T Webs, Carrie Lake, Just Kevin, Grace Thomas. We got Spin City News. Good to see you. Guitar Lady, Tweety 52. Born. What's up, Born BD? Good to see you. Welcome everybody. And we're not streaming on YouTube because I started off with that Promethean clip. Didn't want to start off with check marks or anything. Good to see Dwana as well. And I see a couple of the new names. Truth for Me Always. Welcome, Ron Elwitt. Turn Feisty up. She's too quiet. Okay, Tammy.
Is this better? Hopefully.
I'll turn it up.
You always drown out my voice.
Say something. Let me see it.
Hello.
Perfect. Speaking of the Promethean ladies, she mentioned Carney,
City of London,
the whole
wonder
protest.
why she doesn't mention. I don't know why she doesn't mention Brussels more often. Because City of London gets its marching orders from Brussels. You know that, right?
Well, I'm glad you said that because I picked up the communications with Rich. Mm-hmm. Rich does politics on YouTube, and checked out our Feisty Digs, I think, from last week or the week before. Loves it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, thank you.
And he knows that my goal, he knows what my goal is. Mm-hmm. He knows my goal is to get you and either or Susan or Barbara together, because that would be one feisty conversation. Not feisty. It would be a good conversation.
I was just going to say, if you're looking for a debate.
That's not the goal.
An animus debate. I don't do that.
Goal. No. To get down to the brass taxes, to figure out the 40,000 foot view, the most accurate.
And I think that's important. I mean, yeah. I love I have nothing against.
Well, they're doing stuff that we're not hearing anybody else talk about. That
Absolutely.
With a big platform, Right. And
They've got a major audience, and they're at least able to saturate.
Yeah.
The real story of the shadow government. But what always dismays me, is they rarely talk about Brussels being the sticky power, right? Mm-hmm. Or the fact that the City of London is the financial plumbing that listens. They get their marching orders from the sticky power. And they almost never talk about the financial system as a whole.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And if you don't talk about the three sides of the triangle, the way that they manipulate our social norms and values, the way they weaponize government, and the fact that they manipulate the monetary system to keep bringing in money and make us poor, you lose the 40,000-foot view.
Right.
You got to have an understanding of all three sides there.
All three sides. That's right.
And, when I first started talking about the three sides of the triangle, the blowback was tremendous. I now fully understand what over the target means after almost 10 years of listening to this. But the fact of the matter is, it really does distill down to three sides of the triangle.
I'm glad you brought that up, because, and I knew. Well, I wondered if this was going to trigger you, but I dropped it in the digs folder.
It's too early.
No, I know. It wasn't for that purpose, but I did drop that from a real.
You're talking about the Pope Leo?
Yeah, Real America's Voice, and I just talked about this last night, I think.
You know what bothers me?
They're taking the Pope's words out of context.
Always.
Once you brought it to my attention, I can't
You can't
unsee
miss it, right?
And literally the title on this clip from Real America's Voice, which we all know to be very, or somewhat, patriotic.
Mm-hmm.
And it's titled The Woke, Commie Pope Leo.
And it's such...
Oh, my gosh.
It's not only is it disingenuous, but...
It's presumption.
Here's the big problem. If you're viscerally anti-Catholic, it's a confirmation bias. But even if you're a dedicated Catholic, most Catholics don't even know their own church history or church doctrine.
Yeah.
So it falls on a lot of ears that go, wonder if that's true. So you got to then ask yourself the question, why are they going after the church? What is the church doing that has them singularly focused on taking it down? Because that's what that's really about.
Is there a motive there?
There's a lot of motive.
Sometimes there is. I don't want to be presumptive and assume that they have a motive.
Who negotiated the release of the 51 political prisoners out of Cuba?
One might argue, if you have Catholic derangement syndrome, I'm going to dub that term, by the way, that they would say, oh, well, they're freeing communists.
They were 51 political prisoners who were American citizens. Who negotiated that? The Vatican. Who went in right afterwards and started negotiating with Cuba? And the word is, one, we're going to indict Raul, but Cuba's falling. Communism is falling in Cuba. How do you square that with the commie pope?
I can see how an enemy could weaponize a Vatican's goal to bring a peace within the world, and in doing so, when you're trying to bring peace, you're almost inevitably going to want peace for everybody, right?
Right.
And that everybody is going to include bad actors, maybe? That's their goal, right?
Not so much the bad actors, but those that think they're adherents. There are a lot of people, we know this, our own kids have been inundated with socialism's good, right?
Yeah.
And if you get these individuals in a forum where you can discuss, because the church has been adamant about unfettered capitalism, which is what City of London and Brussels is about.
Oh, yeah. Crony capitalism.
Unfettered, in other words, not controlled. And so they've been very vocal against that. But the Catholic social teaching is also very much against communism. And there's a historical proof of this.
I could understand because, and I was so grateful to have a very smart teacher when I was in high school. I think it was.
I thought you were going to say me.
Well, that goes without saying at this point, Feisty. But he told me about the concept of communism, that it's not an ideology. It's an economic ideology, and that it's the reason it sells to the youth is because the concept of it is supposed to bring about a utopia, which who wouldn't want a utopia, right? So
well, the whole utilitarian thing, that equal for everybody.
Yeah.
That works until you have a house and kids.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
And then you realize equal for everybody, but I'm working more hours or I'm working harder. Why am I giving my stuff away?
Right. It doesn't incentivize hard work. It doesn't incentivize progress or success.
Right. And quite frankly, we're guaranteed equal opportunity, not equal outcome.
Yeah.
So everybody has the opportunity. And I'm not going to dismiss the fact that some people's lives are not.
Yeah, and a lot of people are
ordained.
born.
But then you listen to Rubio, listen to Vance and their backgrounds. And what they're showing you is equal opportunity. You have to go grab it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
and they play on what people are born, because a lot of people are born into poverty.
Mm-hmm. I was.
And they have
Most
a
of us
harder climb,
were.
sure. But, at some point.
You have a hard climb. I'm not going to dismiss the fact that you have a hard climb.
Yeah.
But I was able to start a company. I was very successful for quite a while with my company, but it took 18-hour days to do it. And so I'm not dismissing the struggle, but you know what? When you got to struggle that hard for the success you're experiencing, it makes that success sweeter.
100%. And I want to raise this point too, and shout out to Dwana, who raises a point that I have heard before regarding the Pope. Against communism, but for open borders, she says. But again, I've heard
that's again taken out of context.
I agree. I've heard people say this, right? Which they have only heard what others reporting on it, and that was the exact example that you said to me.
That's the one I sent you.
Go listen to what he himself said, and then come back and tell me if what you heard him say is at all your conclusion, the same conclusion that this article takes.
Right.
And it wasn't even close.
I purposefully used that example because he's not against what Trump is doing. What he keeps calling for is dignity of the human, which is Catholic social teaching.
Yeah. That's a good end. That should be the end goal. That should be the what you ultimately want to achieve.
But he's advocated for countries should enforce their borders. He doesn't agree with unfettered migration.
Right. I'm sure he's not. I'm sure he's.
And he's on the record as saying this. The problem is people don't, like I said, it's your position, your bias. They don't go back and listen to what is actually said or what is actually written. And every single time there's this firestorm across the ether about what the Pope said or did, I can go back to a direct comment, in fact, one of the ones you asked me about, it was actually part of a homily that had nothing to do with what everybody was spreading around, remember? They took a sentence out of a 30-minute homily.
Talk about lifting the veil. That right there lifts the veil for a lot of people. Well, it did for me. So you got that going on. All right. And then you also have James, nobody's homie, Comey, supposedly calling for FBI deep state coup on live TV. But wait, Sean, what do you mean supposedly? He does. It does. Boy, it sounds like he is directly talking to the entrenched and fortified within the FBI and DOJ. However,
I'm going to ask a question on that one.
Yes, please.
Is there any way to take your bias, put it up on a shelf, and think about what he said in a 180? Because if you're going to be intellectually honest, you got to listen to it, not just in context, but you've got to consider all angles of what he meant, don't you think?
The way I feel like brings it into perspective the best is when you ask yourself, wait a minute, homeboy is looking at a federal indictment. There is a grand jury.
What a dumbass thing to say.
If you know anything about federal law, or if you're facing down a federal indictment, federal, capital federal, okay, then, and you have a good, even a shitty lawyer, I don't care. You know what that lawyer is going to tell you? What not to do? Talk.
Right?
Do not talk. Do not go on any
shut the
publication.
hell up, right?
It is Shut the F Up Friday, all right? Every day is Shut the F Up Friday. And he just keeps going on these shows and saying things like calling for the entrenched and fortified to hold on a minute, wait it out until Trump is out of office. This is literally what he said with Fry Voice, your Highness Fry Voice, Nicole Wallace. I couldn't believe it. And then I just started thinking about, I'm like, Feisty popped in my head, and I'm like, oh, what would she say right now? And I started to hear the doublespeak. Just like, for instance, when do they do doublespeak, Sean and Kathy? When do they do doublespeak? Here's a perfect example.
There's a great example.
How about this one? He's a threat to our democracy. Who do you?
He is.
They're not lying to you.
What's our democracy from their
democracy?
Terms? Right.
Their
not
democracy.
They didn't say he's a threat to democracy.
Yeah.
They said he's a threat to our democracy.
Very specific. Another one, another perfect one. But there's no evidence of widespread.
Widespread doesn't
fraud.
need to be
Right.
an actual right.
Right. They don't need to steal elections through widespread. Fraud. They know
don't.
to throw in that word. As long as you throw that word widespread in there. Then,
What widespread means at every precinct across the country.
Yeah.
When in fact we know that it's specific precincts within counties.
Yeah.
Within the
Oftentimes
country.
oftentimes red ones too.
Well, they prefer more than the red counties. They prefer the more purple, if you will, the red leaning purple.
Yep.
Because you can hide it easier.
They know they're not going to look.
You're not going to look
auditors aren't
deeper.
gonna look at that. Yeah. So, just a couple examples of doublespeak. You don't have to take our word for it, but again,
Just listen for it.
Yeah, just keep it in the back of your mind. If you're ever listening to, shout out to Drunk Pinata, okay? If you're ever living vicariously through Drunk Pinata and you're a glutton for punishment like he is, then listen to their words. This is how they get away with defamation. This is how they get away with breaking all sorts of laws, right? Is they actually are saying the truth.
And Comey didn't tell you anything that wasn't true either about the 2.5 years. What are we in? We're in the exposure period, right? Where the accountability is really happening.
He just
We're
exposed
watching it.
that there are entrenched and fortified publicly.
Right.
On
He not only said the entrenched and fortified, but he said just wait 2.5 years. Things will drastically change. And we already know this. This is not even subjective thinking. We know that once this presidential term is over, the healing begins. We get to rebuild. Not that we're not doing things now. Trump is putting everything in place, but it really starts to take off after the 28th.
Yep. Bearish Mama says that words matter to them. Word games. There's a whole lot of that. Dog whistling, if you will. That's
Dog whistles,
definitely a thing.
You hear them everywhere.
Always, once you hear it, you can't then unhear it. What else is going on? I know this wasn't in the repertoire today, but President Trump post $1.7 million compensation fund? For what?
Yeah.
J6 will all be exposed for what it was. Planned attack to make it appear that MAGA was
It's not
violent.
1.7 million, it's a billion.
It's over $1 billion, yes.
Yeah, it's 1.7 billion. And here's my thought on that, because that got announced, I think, yesterday, wasn't it? Or maybe the day before.
Trump posted it.
Yeah, he posted about it. He's looking at his $10 billion lawsuit, and he's saying, look, make this available to the victims instead. And I think what he's doing, and this is my opinion, let me caveat, he's exposing something that I have to tell you, I didn't know about. Did you know it came back from the 50s?
No.
That program has been around since the 50s.
What?
It's the $1.7 billion. It's grown a little bit, but it's an automatically appropriated fund for the U.S. government to pay out lawsuit when people win a lawsuit against the government, they pay it out of that fund. It used to be that they had to pay it out of the fund.
Wow.
The Congress had to vote each one. And so they finally just made this one fund, $1.7 billion, that is used, and they don't have to go to Congress to draw from it. It's a static appropriation. So I didn't know about this program. I knew that they were paying out benefits to people who won lawsuits, but I didn't know much about that program. So my gut is telling me that he's exposing the fact that the government has been routinely paying lawsuits out against itself,
Wow.
and which, we're always hearing qualified immunity. We're always hearing about you can't sue the government. Somebody is, if we got a $1.7 billion a year fund.
Right. What kind of lawsuits are we talking about, too? Are we talking
All
about
kinds. There's all kinds. There's
like sexual ones, sexual abuse?
No, that was a program that Congress had that Sessions upended. No, we're talking about vax injuries, malicious prosecution, those kinds of things. When somebody files a lawsuit against the government, which, quite honestly, Carter Page has got $1.25 million. It likely came out of that fund.
Oh. Okay. Another thing that Donald Trump reposted or retruthed. In Maryland, they sent out 500,000 illegal mail-in ballots, and they got caught. So now they're going to send out 500,000 more mail-in ballots, but nobody knows what's happening with the first 500,000 that they sent. In addition, many of these ballots went to Democrats, so any Republican running in Maryland doesn't have a chance. This was done by the corrupt governor of the state, Wes Moore. Very bad. He allowed this to happen in order to make sure that the Democrats win. It never made sense to me that Maryland was considered an automatic Democrat state, but now I see why. I'm sure this has gone on for years.
Yeah.
So that's...
and what's really funny is it's Maryland, the one state where it was legal to be Catholic.
Yeah.
Which was always conservative.
Maryland, yeah.
Maryland.
Yeah.
As Charles Carroll, he wrote the Constitution. They flipped that state years ago, and it's largely illegally flipped. And then they came after Virginia, and now they flipped Virginia, which is largely red. I would venture so is Maryland. But it was really important to keep the hub around D.C. as blue as they could make it.
Oh, yeah, Virginia, even parts of Pennsylvania.
Where do these corrupt public officials live? Maryland and Virginia. Most of them in Virginia, but Maryland too.
But I think that's going to change soon.
I hope so. I mean, that's what we're waiting on.
And I got like one or two more, and you got some stuff as well, right?
Yeah, I do.
And you said you need about 45 to an hour? Sound good?
30 to 45 an hour. Yeah, fine.
We'll go with an hour.
I just thought with all of this coming up, especially with Comey, it would be a good time to go through the Crossfire Hurricane timeline.
All right, so we should find a way to preface to get to... I think I have a way to set you up.
Okay.
Maybe I'll play that Comey clip. Shout out to Sean Joe. Thank you for the cookie, brother. And shout out to Sting Tammy for a can. Thank you guys for your continued support. All right. Also, hey, we got Risto73 in the house. What's up, bro? Thanks for the $5 Rumble rent. Says my fiance's ex just received a California ballot in the mail in Ohio, where he's owned a house for over 4 years now. Oh my gosh. It's an official ballot. And you DM'd it to me on Pilled, bro. Wow. So California's sending ballots to other states? What? That's insane.
And that's that whole classic we haven't... You know what's really funny is they obviously know the person's not a resident of California any longer.
Yes. They obviously know that, especially after 4 years.
Talk about reaching, right?
Yes. Desperation. Who knows? Also, thank you, Sean Joe. Also, I don't know if anybody's heard this. I'm sure you all have at this point. Things are not looking good for Thomas Massengill. I'm sorry,
Right.
Massey. Apparently now, well, Loomer had an exclusive interview with his former staffer, she was a former congressional staffer for Sparts, and her name's Cynthia West. Well, Loomer had an exclusive interview with her, and Thomas Massey's, who is Massey's ex-girlfriend and former staffer for GOP Congresswoman, as I said, Victoria Sparts, who I used to like. I still arguably do, but what's her alignment with Massey? But she reveals in this interview, guys, wow. Again, you got to think of the defamation side of things, okay? If somebody's spreading something, knowingly spreading false information, you got to think too. Always put this in the back of your mind. If what she's saying is a lie, then especially about a congressman, then you better expect she's going to receive a defamation lawsuit.
Well, not always, but go ahead. Look at Swalwell's tryst, right?
Well, because clearly he was guilty.
Excuse me? His victim is represented by Allred's daughter, Bloom.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Right.
We don't usually follow up on the end, right? Did you see anybody go down or held accountable for the Kavanaugh debacle? Right, which was an LCCHR effort. Remember, they accused Kavanaugh.
Why didn't he go after her?
Because the political backlash is harder to sustain. But go back to Thomas. I mean, she was never held accountable, and she's another LCCHR acolyte.
Who is Cynthia West?
No, Judge Thomas. What's her name?
That from back in the day, way back when he was first when
he was going through his confirmation.
Holy cow! Really?
She was never held accountable. Another LCCHR acolyte. In fact, it's going on right now. I pointed out something to you before the show opened.
That's a good point.
We don't normally go after these individuals. Trump went after Horseface, Stormy Daniels. She lost in Texas, remember? And Texas has loser pays.
Yep.
Trump never collected from her. He just wanted it out of...
Because he got enough money. And everybody would play off that.
I think there were some strings attached to not paying. We just don't know what they are.
Well, didn't a judge just pause her payment?
I don't know.
I think I just read something about her. Was it Stormy? No, it wasn't Stormy. It was the other one, the fruitcake.
Yeah,
you're
talking E. Jean Carroll. Yeah, that was paused.
Yeah,
her payments are being paused. Anita Hill, thank you.
Anita Hill, yeah. Shout out to Sean Joe. Well, another thing with Massey, Massey's taxpayer-funded congressional staff were allegedly involved in helping cover up Massey's sexual improprieties, including alleged sexual encounters with none other than GOP rep Lauren Boebert, everybody. Within weeks of Massey's wife of 30 years passing away, Miss West makes it clear that her life as a mother, a working woman, a social worker, and an advocate for the voiceless.
Boy, that sounds very...
it does.
Epstein background kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
What is it? The WWE, World Without Exploitation.
World WE, yeah.
Right.
Maybe we need to look into Cynthia West and her background, but she's also a current candidate for Okaloosa County School Board District 5 in Florida, has been severely and negatively impacted by her relationship with Massey, and that she stands to gain nothing by going public except for providing transparency and accountability in government.
Bullshit. She's looking for the victim card.
There's something else going on.
She's using the victim card.
And that's not.
And what are they doing? There is a lot of activity right now. I mean, boy, talk about rats let loose and
Yep.
going after each other. But there's this whole operation going on to get somebody to step down so they can put somebody else in.
And Galrain has taken over. He's now leading Massey by several points. I think it's 49-42. Last I saw.
I would stick very close to who Trump endorses.
He endorsed Galrain.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at. I
Yeah.
would stick very close to whomever he endorses.
And keep in mind, the institution that provides the vetting of candidates is Turning Point USA. Keep that in mind.
Right.
So if you're the enemy, then yeah, again, you would be interested, I would argue, in taking down Turning Point USA. So there's that. There's what else is there going on? I'll play the clip tonight on the news. By the way, that interview with Cynthia West. I'll play it during the news tonight for anyone who wants to join for the news. What else? Oh, Castro indictment.
He's 94.
Is it Castro or is it his son?
Raul.
Yeah. Who is it? Would it be
Raul
Raul?
Castro. Yeah, he's 94.
Oh, they're going after him?
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts on that?
Optics.
Okay.
The same as with Maduro. The same as with what we're watching going on in the Middle East, all over the world. The optics of removing the corrupt, right? The communist is a huge emotional trigger for a lot of people in Cuba that it's over.
And deals are being made, if I'm not mistaken, in
Yes,
Cuba right
we've
now, right?
been actively negotiating. Right after the 51 political prisoners were released, Rubio started negotiating with Cuba. So they're in direct conversation. Vatican's behind it as well. There's something going on there. And that's why I'm saying now we're talking about Raul Castro being indicted and obviously being brought to the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
You can have any opinion you want. But the optics of removing a commie bastard does a lot for the people of that country.
Yeah. Cuba needs it. Cubans
They desperately
need
need
it.
it.
Holy cow. And then two other things here, just real quick. I keep seeing more and more talk of this symptom called or diagnosis called alpha-gal, which is a result of bite from a tick called the Lone Star tick, which was exclusively for southern states. It looked like there was a Mason-Dixon line where they stopped. So, and I always look at that as a frost line, like, all right, below these states, below the Mason-Dixon line doesn't typically frost, but above it does. And I feel like that's where the ticks stopped. But now they've just spread, apparently. And alpha-gal is atrocious. You become allergic to red meat, dairy.
My daughter had the problem.
Sounds very Hegelian.
No, she actually had the issue. It was almost 10 years before she could eat meat again. She had to eat non-mammal.
It sounds like these people are getting it for life.
No, it's not. It actually, in fact, another member of my chat had it, and she too. But it takes years, so it can feel like life. But
well, like I said, it sounds very Hegelian.
It's not for life.
You got Bill Gates and others like him who are just dead set on getting people to get off red meat. And
yeah, I get it, but there is actually, and it's a weaponized. Personally, I think all of these tick-borne diseases are weaponized, but that's my opinion.
Yeah. Might as well.
If you're suffering from the condition, it doesn't matter what my opinion is. It is a painful, by the way, if you eat meat. I've watched it happen. You seize up in pain. Your intestines can't handle it.
Weaponized.
And yes, just so you know, tried various parasitic treatments, and there was some relief, but not enough.
Ticks hate bacitracin.
Bacitracin is that's bacitracin works against tick-borne disease, but it's not this particular ailment with the alpha-gal is like I said, my daughter had it. It was almost 10 years before she could eat meat. The day she found out she could eat meat, she gorged on it.
I bet she did. I bet
she didn't. In fact, the Planet, the person in my chat that had the disease,
shout out to Planet,
had herself a very thick steak and was all excited about it.
Shout out to Planet. Also, apparently, there's an active shooter situation at an Islamic center, so a mosque in San Diego, results in 2 dead, many more injured. And someone spotted laying in a pool of blood. Aerial view show. Police have rushed the scene, praying for all victims, any and all victims. What's going on there? It's a really rather big mosque as well. Also, Feisty. And this is the one I'll end on before we get to the video that's going to set you up. The DOJ has announced a $1.7 billion anti-weaponization fund
we talked about that
as part of the IRS lawsuit settlement.
Right. That's the one we talked about.
That's the one? Oh, it is for J6.
The 1.7. Okay. And what Trump wants to do is use that fund for people that have been victimized by the government, and it obviously includes J6 victims. And that's what I was saying. I do believe these people have a justifiable right to sue and get restitution. I believe that. The part that pisses me off is, why am I paying for it out of tax dollars? The people that committed the crime should be forced to forfeit and pay that debt. Do you understand where I'm going?
Yes, of course. So
we've got all this forfeited assets where, illegals, where you've got the government is seizing assets right, left, and center. Why isn't that funding this? We already lost that money. It's already sunk cost. Why are you now going to come after me for the $1.7 billion and increase my taxes accordingly when I didn't do shit? I didn't victimize these people.
Yeah.
In fact, I was victimized.
Yeah. But unless they already have the
fund is there. I'm not denying that, but one of the things that got me when I looked into it is that it's not a new thing. It's a well-established program that's been in place since the 50s. And it just kind of makes me angry as we sit here at $39 trillion in debt that I am paying for, literally paying for the corruption that we're trying to take down. And double dipping or triple dipping in some cases, right?
Yep.
So I'm a little tired of always sitting on the back end going, they deserve the money.
Why are we being punished?
Open up my wallet, right?
Yeah, you're almost incentivizing it to continue to happen
because you got this endless fund with the off books taxpayer dollars, right? And so I just, there's got to be a better way, and I'm hoping that what Trump was doing was bringing light to a situation most Americans don't even know about. Like I said, I didn't know about this program or how long it had been in place.
Feisty, you are looking fabulous. I have not seen you in quite a while. Glad I could pop in today from KMAE62. Isn't she just glowing?
I am?
Yes.
Okay.
You look fabulous.
Thank you. I didn't see that.
Good to see you, KME. And Pam.
Thank you for that compliment.
Dave MC. I think I see Real News Head. What's up, bro? I lied. I got one more. We didn't even talk. We totally missed this one. Tina Peters.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing. So right now, the parole board kind of holds those cards, right?
Yes.
But Paulus appointed everybody that's on the
Every
parole
single
board.
one of them.
So the fact that people are going, well, is the parole board going to follow through? When Paulus came out and said he's sure she'll be released on the 1st, that's because he's already had those conversations, right?
Probably, yes.
So why would he be doing this? Number one, it's politically expedient, but there's something else going on, and I really think, and I'm praying, that it's because she's a material witness.
All right. I'm glad you brought this up because this is what I wanted to talk about with you regarding Tina and Jared Pole Smoker. All right. So there's a lot of suspicions that there's going to be that the Colorado prison board of prisons is going to implement some sort of keeping her quiet, essentially trying to keep her from going public about her findings or anything like this. And they think, I've even heard many espouse that they think she can't be compelled to testify.
That's bullshit.
It is bullshit. In fact, well, this isn't a pardon. This is a commutation.
No, it's a commutation.
But it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter because if you're talking fraud, you can't be compelled to shut up about it.
If you are served a federal indictment,
I'm
sorry, a subpoena. Correction.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you're served a federal federal subpoena.
No, I don't care if it's federal, state, local, it doesn't matter. Fraud is not a compellable reason. So if you are experiencing this fraud and you have information that proves that fraud, it doesn't matter what agreement you sign.
You have to.
You have to answer to it.
Yes. Yeah. If she's brought up as a witness.
If she's, and I do,
And
I'm
the state
hoping
can't override that.
they can't override it. Now, what was interesting, because we talked about it, when you read her statement, she talks about her mistakes and that she's profoundly sorry. That looked like a very carefully worded statement. Very carefully worded. So the state, and we've seen this happen before, the state gets their brownie points. See, she did commit a crime, but we're going to commute her by cutting her sentence in half. She just admitted, right? I remember when Donald Trump, back in the 70s, after being harangued by HUD for discriminatory housing practices, right? Which was the mob had controlled HUD. So they brought these discriminatory housing practices lawsuit against the Trump Enterprise organization.
How'd that go? How'd that work for him?
It went on for years. It really jaded Trump at the time. It went on for years, but when the new president came in, HUD came to Trump and literally said, take this ad out in this periodical and we'll drop the case. That way they got their brownie point, right? They got a concession.
It's a win-win.
It's a win-win. Well, Trump's response was, okay, I'll take out an ad, but I don't like that one. I'm going to put it in this one. So he still controlled the end, right? So what I'm getting at is it's not uncommon. They're constantly looking for a way to get their ability to bellow their win. Well, by saying I made some mistakes and I'm sorry is a hollow win on their part. So if she's got material information, which I am confident she does.
Yes.
Then, boy, that's going to be short-lived, isn't it? Get her out of prison. It's short-lived.
Well, I feel like Jebba Griswold, I keep wanting to say Jebba,
has got a big problem.
I think, and her reaction, her response to it was very telling, I think, in a way, and is an indicator to me, I want to hear your thoughts on this, it's an indicator to me that Jared Polis may be working with Todd Blanche.
Well, you're not far from that.
He could have commutated her sentence after the midterms. Why did he do it now?
Right. Go backwards. Remember when Harmeet Dillon opened a civil rights case against the Bureau of Prisons in Colorado?
That was needed pressure.
Yeah. Yeah, there's been something going on in the background. Now, is it a hold something over your head Paulus kind of situation? Or is Paulus a plant where he's working behind the scenes? We'll have to wait and see how that washes out in the end. But it is clear that the big... Okay. Are you now on board with the idea that the faces you know maybe weren't committing the bulk of the crimes? It was the people behind them.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yep.
We see that at the federal level, the state level. Waltz didn't commit fraud in his state government.
He overlooked it.
Whether he overlooked it, he had a couple of people in his state governance program.
Yeah, what I don't know
that were
won't
part
hurt
of
me.
it.
Yeah. Unless you can prove that he had foreknowledge, which that can be proven.
It can be proven if he had foreknowledge, but
we're seeing that now. We're seeing that with Newsom. We're seeing it with Tampon Tim Walz. It's starting to come out in the news now that they had foreknowledge of the fraud. Mm-hmm. Proof, which that is proof of a crime being committed.
Yes,
right. Because again, fraud vitiates all.
They don't do this by themselves.
Oh yeah, so they're going after the ones who.
So you dangle it over the head of the leader, but you actually get somebody underneath. They're not doing this stuff by themselves. I don't know what Paulus is guilty of. We can come up with a string of things from what we know from public reporting.
Can you be guilty of willful ignorance?
Who believes Jenna Griswold is innocent?
No, not even a little bit.
Right?
Not even a little bit. Tell her about that weird video I saw a couple years back. Duppy says, which video? Weird video I saw a couple years back. You'll have to remind me. Hey, good to see Ann Boyer out there as well. All right. So there's a lot going on with Tina Peters, and that she essentially took the proof that the 29,000 deleted ballots directly to the county commissioners who refused to even look at it. Where was the Colorado governor on that one?
Well, that's exculpable information that they hid, which that doesn't happen ever, that we withhold exculpable information, right?
Yep. And how about the fact that, this is a couple of reasons why I don't trust the Bureau of Prisons, Colorado Bureau of Prisons, is because Tina had made 8 requests to be sent to a safe wing of the prison.
And they denied it.
That are reserved for non-gang members. For not troublemakers. Why would should she have been allotted?
Because they were retaliating.
She had no previous crimes. Nothing on her record. Not even a speeding ticket.
And I think this is where you start getting into the retaliation, weaponized government.
Yes.
We got so many cases of this.
Right.
You've got it at the federal, state, and local levels. We all know somebody or something about this. So that's what I'm saying. I don't June 1st isn't the end of Tina Peters' story. There's more.
Yeah, she's going to get a retribution.
Not only is she going to get retribution, but I think what she has in her because what do we know? We know that when she took that information, when she took the she mirrored the drive, remember?
Oh, yes.
All those, we know that she has multiple copies sent to multiple places so that it couldn't be lost. So if these are certified copies, they're done. And remember, this also goes back to, this brings in the Lindell case too, by the way, so don't forget that.
Okay, yes. So it was, Duppy, thank you for the reminder. Yeah, he talked about this last night. About this time that Jared Polis was signing a bill with one hand. He had one hand underneath the table. And I've heard this before. Some people speculated whether or not he was handcuffed or something. I don't know. I'd have to see the video. Hey, shout out to Samini. Yeah, Samini. Thank you for the $5 Rumble rant. Says thank you. No, thank you, Samini. I appreciate that. Right? Yes. Yes, Bensmeyer Croft erection fraud. That's what I call it.
That's what Biden called it too.
And now, well, Polis is now taking victory laps, apparently. So we'll end that one.
Well, of course,
there.
Polis has got his. But you know those boomerangs, they always come back to the neck that tossed it. Just pointing out.
Oh, we got another $5 Rumble rant. Good work. Good show from Blatt. How am I going to pronounce that? Blatkin?
Blatkin.
First of all, welcome to both of you, and thank you both for the $5
I don't
Rumble
know
rants.
either of those names. Is
Nope.
that new?
I've seen some meanie around before. Hey, what's up, Leota?
Oh, Mr. Leota, haven't seen you guys in
Right.
so long.
And speaking of Leota, with a
I was just
$5
thinking
Rumble rant.
about
Yep.
when we were playing the outro. It's like we got to remember for the intro and the outro to give kudos because we
Mr.
kind of stopped
Leota.
doing it.
Yep.
Mr. Leota did the outro and Song Babe did the intro.
Yep, you guys will see the outro, Mr. Leota's outro, towards the end of the show here. And since we're up against the time, I'm going to start this clip to set the stage for you.
Okay.
Where James, nobody's homie, Comey burst into tears. Again, this is Benny Johnson, so I don't see the bursting into tears. But as he calls for the FBI deep state coup on live TV. And you guys tell us. Now, what I would preface this with, and Feisty might agree or disagree for that matter, listen for
I
the
don't
double
ever
speak.
disagree with you.
No, you don't do it for the sake of disagreeing. What I want you to listen for is the double speak. There's the crickets. Listen for the double speak. Okay? Listen for the who's he addressing? Who is he talking to? What is he really saying in this?
Right.
Because
You know that's really important, right?
yeah, I think so. Because and I'll remind you guys again what I said in the beginning of the show. When you're staring at a federal indictment, guys, and you have savvy lawyers, even stupid lawyers would tell you the same thing. The fact that he himself, I think, is a stupid lawyer. Well,
No,
he's not stupid,
He's
guys.
He's not stupid.
But, okay, he was the director of the FBI.
And I'm
Don't
going to
you
show
think
you
he
some
knows to
things,
shut
by
up?
the way. I'm going to show you some stuff, by the way, that's going to go, I didn't know that.
Or get me to launch, maybe.
From the most unlikely person you would have thought of, by the way.
Oh, boy. Okay, this is going to be interesting. So, again, we're going to revisit Russiagate and everything that surrounded it, really. But, again, just keep that in the back of your mind, okay? When you're staring at a federal indictment, if you out there in the chat are ever staring at a federal indictment, you know what you don't do? You don't talk.
The word one is keep the trap shut, right?
Yeah, shut up. Every day
And
is shut the F up Friday.
They watch all of your communications.
Oh, yeah.
Social media.
Oh, yeah, they will use it against you.
Because everything you say can and will be used against you. And, as we've seen multiple times, they will even twist it to use it against you.
Yes.
So,
and what's the success rate for a federal?
Like 95% plus. That's where the part of it is you can indict a ham sandwich, right?
Right. So I'm going to encourage you guys, try to remain as objective as possible. We don't want to get into echo chambers or any of that, right? We really just want to think as objective as possible. I'm going to shut my trap now.
Yes, do so.
Touche. All right, here we go.
Okay, you deserved that.
All right, here we go. James, nobody's homie, Comey, and thank you to Jax. Hey, should I get snacks? Yes, go get yourself some snacks, Jax. Snacks, Jax. God bless. Thank you, bro. Shout out to Up in Smoke for the cookie, because Sean is so... I should have Feisty read that one. Up in Smoke says, because Sean is so cute. Well, thank you, Up in Smoke. You made me blush. And shout out to Sean Joe, Sting Tammy, Sean Joe, Izzy Q, who's on the leaderboard right now. Just Fed Up as the lead, with Izzy Q and Dixie tied for second place. God bless. Thank you all for the support. Please consider hitting the red pill over on Build. Hit that like if you can over on Rumble. And shout out to everybody lurking. If you guys could hit the like, share it out. And I think you can even share it on Rumble now, guys. All right, here we go.
If you want a perfect explanation as to how the deep state works, look no further than this clip of James Comey from this weekend. It'll make your blood boil. James Comey, who's now been indicted twice, is giving orders to the deep state live on NBC News.
Sean, hold up.
Get a
Pause
load of
that.
this. He says that we have people buried deep in the institutions and we need them to hang on so that when Trump's out of power, we can go attack Republicans again and let Democrats off the hook like we did with Hillary Clinton. Watch it.
Looked at from the top level. The people running it, if you're bragging about forcing out career prosecutors and agents because the president doesn't like a lawful investigation they conducted, something is seriously broken at the top. But I have great confidence in the people down below who are just trying to hang on. And I'm urging them, hang on 2.5 years, and then we can rebuild these institutions. But we need good people in those roles.
Okay, so the good people in those roles entrapped General Flynn, launched the Russiagate scam on Donald Trump, then tried to put Trump in jail for 400 years, rounded up people for praying at abortion clinics or little grandmothers for entering the Capitol on January 6th. The good people that James Comey is talking about, they're the ones who let Hillary Clinton off the hook when she was guilty as sin. It was like obvious and evidenced. And James Comey actually is the guy who got trotted out and explained all of the evidence and how guilty Hillary Clinton was, and then let her off the hook anyway. These are the kind of people that he's talking about. These are the kind of people at the FBI, these scum. And he's telling you that he has good people down below. That the good that they already have, they're entrenched deep state activists down below. And now James Comey is back and crying. He doesn't have any problem getting booked on corporate media. Isn't that amazing? James Comey, who has now been indicted for the 8647 threat to the president's life, is crying, literally breaking down in tears on corporate
which is an important role, but you don't have much to do with the U.S. attorney.
I ask because I went back and looked, and Donald Trump first used Twitter to call for your prosecution in 2017 or 18, and some combination of Don McGahn, then the White House counsel, Jeff Sessions, then the U.S. attorney, Bill Barr, who came next. If there's anything personal.
Mr. Blanche, maybe not. Maybe his standards will be too high, as apparently Pam Bondi's were, which is a bit of a shock.
Just saying something?
Yeah, and so she's apparently headed for some important private sector job we haven't heard about yet. That may be Mr. Blanche's future, or maybe not. I don't know. But Donald Trump has a bottomless desire to gain revenge against those who've criticized him. And I'm not going to stop criticizing him because I think that's required if you care about.
It's not about criticism, dude. It's that you weaponized the entire Federal Bureau of Investigation to destroy him and his administration over a lie, and then you bragged about it. You bragged about it on stage with this reporter. You did it right here. You literally the same yapping talking head here on MSNBC. You sat on stage with her and giggled tee-hee-hee about how you were able to entrap General Flynn right here.
Both of those administrations, there was process. And so if the FBI wanted to send agents into the White House itself to interview a senior official, you would work through the White House counsel, and there'd be discussions and approvals and who would be there. And I thought it's early enough. Let's just send a couple guys over. And so we placed a call to Flynn, said, hey, we're sending a couple guys over. Hope you'll talk to them. He said, sure. Nobody else was there. They interviewed him in a conference room at the White House Situation Room, and he lied to them. And that's what he's now pled guilty to.
What did he think they were coming over there for?
I don't think he knew. No, we didn't tell him.
So this is how like the corporate media propaganda works. It's a time of pain and loss for a lot of people. What's your family's pain right now? What's your family's pain? Did anybody ever ask that of Donald Trump? When they raided Donald Trump's family, when they raided Melania and Barron Trump's room, guns drawn at the orders of James Comey? Anybody ever asked Donald Trump that?
The other good ones hanging on, trying not to have to leave the department. It's a time of pain and loss for a lot of good people. That's why I talked about them in my dedication and the acknowledgments.
What is your family's pain like right now?
Look, it's bad to be indicted. It's bad when someone you love is indicted, but they've kind of gotten used to the fact that because I've been a critic of Donald Trump, I'm a target. I'm sure John Brennan's family feels that way, Jim Clapper's family, and lots of others. There's a cost to speaking up in this strange era, awful era we're in now. And I think they accept that. I think they're proud that I act the way I do. I'm not going to be quiet. I'm going to continue to speak about what I believe.
It's not about speaking, you moron. It's about the fact that you weaponized the government in order to go after your political enemy. Comey knows he's not a victim of lawfare. He is the lawfare. He ruined innocent lives. He may finally be held accountable for it. The grand jury in Fort Pierce, Florida, is where Traitor Comey finally pays for his crimes. Buckle up. The grand jury is where this is really going to go down. Oh, man. Ladies and gentlemen, CIA officers are now being brought in and questioned amid FBI's John Brennan Russiagate probe. John Brennan, the main target. It's going to be a wild one. John Brennan acting very, very nervous in recent interviews. John Brennan seen panicking on TV last month.
What I'm concerned is right now with all of these individuals that Musk and Doge have sent into our government institutions and having access to those systems and networks and databases, this is something that is ripe for exploitation by the Russians and the Chinese.
Oh, God. You got to get a new playbook there, John. And there are reports coming out of Reuters that FBI agents are now questioning current and former CIA officers in Langley over John Brennan's role in the Russiagate assessment, fueled by the collusion hoax. Sources say roughly a dozen intelligence officials were interviewed last week. DOJ probe Brennan's own lawyers admits he targeted him for possible false statements. Whew, man, look at that. And there it is, Nicole Wallace once again on with John Brennan to launder more Russian disinformation. These people, they're such scum. Donald Trump sharing arrest Obama, the traitor on Truth Social. Arrest Obama, the traitor. Ladies and gentlemen, John Brennan's losing it. Mike Davis, who's obviously architected an enormous amount of what needs to be done here with DOJ to clean house, was on our program last week. Explaining what's about to happen in Florida. It's going to be a wild one. James Comey and John Brennan are on TV crying for good reason. Here we go.
So tell me if I have my legal bearings correct here. The president has immunity for his actions while president, not afterwards or not before, but while president. Somebody like Joe Biden does not have immunity, and he was involved in this. Somebody like Hillary Clinton, of course, does not have immunity. She was never president, never will be. So you could see potentially some very big names brought down in this. Is that correct, Mike?
Yes. And presidential immunity applies to your official acts. If you investigate Barack Obama, he can litigate whether it is an official act for him to set loose the Democrat National Committee, the Steele dossier, to work with his Justice Department, with his FBI, with the CIA, to orchestrate the biggest scandal in American history, to use your law enforcement and intel agencies to help a presidential candidate of Hillary Clinton and hurt a presidential campaign of Donald Trump. And that's exactly what they did. Barack Obama, Joe Biden, Hillary Clinton, James Comey, Clapper, Brennan. There were so many bad actors in this. And the lawfare against President Trump to take him out afterwards with the prosecutions, 4 prosecutions for non-crimes, trying to bankrupt Trump for non-fraud several times, trying to take him off the ballot unconstitutionally in several states, trying to take off his head by underfunding his Secret Service protection, and Biden saying Trump was a fascist and the gravest threat to democracy and to put a bullseye on. These lawfare Democrats must be held accountable so this never happens again. If they're not held accountable, it's going to be very ugly the next time they're back in the White House and they run the Justice Department and the CIA.
So hold on, Mike. I have to dig down on that answer. So you're telling me that Barack Obama's actions, even as president, if they were illegal, it could still be charged. So Barack Obama could potentially be charged here as well.
Presidential immunity is an affirmative defense. You can charge him, even charge him as an unindicted co-conspirator. I'd charge him, but I'm a little bit more bold and fearless than most. But then you let Barack Obama litigate whether he has presidential immunity.
Like Trump had to, right?
Barack Obama is the most demonic force in American politics in decades. He is an evil man who is a Marxist Trojan horse, who was the worst actor in politicizing and weaponizing our intel agencies and law enforcement to go after your political enemies. This guy is a fraud. He is a Marxist, and he is subversive. He's the Trojan horse for the Marxists. And he absolutely was and is trying to destroy America from within. He tried to create so many racial grievances, racial tensions, sicking the intel agencies and the FBI, the Justice Department, after your political enemies. This guy's a monster, and he has to be held accountable.
There's so much to unpack in that.
Okay, good. Good. Feisty.
I'm going to start with the opening.
Okay.
This is going to boil your blood.
Yeah. Okay.
And if it didn't, what then?
So I want to preface too, I'm a big Mic Drop Davis fan.
So am I.
Yeah. We call him Mic Drop Davis because he's always dropping the mic.
And he's not inaccurate when he calls Obama the Trojan horse.
Okay. So tell us more, please.
How do you get people to poke their heads out of their holes? You embolden, you get them, give them an environment
Make
where
them feel nice and warm and
it's
fuzzy.
okay.
All right.
Yes.
All right.
And we've seen plenty of examples of that, both under the Obama regime as well as under the Biden regime, right? In fact, under the Biden regime, we actually have now put a name on it. We call him Otto Penn Biden for a reason, right?
Yep.
So I'm just going to point that out. I am going to let a jury decide who's guilty of what, okay? I'm just going to point out that there are a number of reasons to step back, because if you constantly look at the man in the Oval Office, then you're not looking at the operatives underneath that are actually doing this stuff. Right? That's an obvious thing. The other thing he talked about, Comey said he will always criticize Trump. He said, and if I'm going to paraphrase because I don't think I have it exact, but he said he's going after people that criticize him. Yeah, he is. It's called weaponized government. They were critics of President Donald Trump since he came down the escalator, if not before. Okay? And then there was another one. Pienka and Strzok were the two that were sent to the White House to talk to Flynn. What did Pienka say in 302? Flynn was honest.
Joe Pienka? You mean the guy that...
Pow Pow is his nickname, by the way.
Igor Raiklin. I'm sorry, Ivan Raiklin.
Yeah.
Has a hard-on for.
Yeah.
All
so
right.
the CIA officers that he's talking about, notice he's talking about rank and file, which is the same in the FBI that really very much adored Comey, by the way, the rank and file. And they're all coming forward about the CIA officers now are answering questions of the grand jury about Brennan. So you're talking rank and file.
I can't help but the first thought to my mind right now is, have you checked any of the Bongino or Kash Patel interviews with Hannity?
No, I haven't. I saw the
Bongino talks about there being two FBIs.
There are two FBIs.
Yeah.
That's not even
and then
new news.
Kash Patel was asked about by Hannity who he thinks left the burn bags. He didn't say it. In fact, Kash kind of
he got that big shit-eating grin, though.
Yes, he did. And I didn't know if he was addressing Ray or if...
Well, it was leadership. He actually said he believed it was leadership. So,
wow.
I'm just going to step back again. We can think whatever we want, but I happen to know of Ray because I've known many people that worked at DOJ. And which obviously FBI falls under. Wray is a straight arrow. He's always been considered a straight arrow. Comey was loved. McCabe was hated. This is from the rank and file.
But you can't see that if you allow your emotions. I
Let me ask another question.
I don't want to dismiss.
Let me ask him one question. Trump's putting out all these posts about who to get for treason.
He's never addressed Wray, really.
No, he called Wray Central Casting. He did in July of 2020. Called Wray Central Casting. But I'm going to ask a question. Does President Trump's truth posts and Twitter back in the day, are they information that can be used in a court of law? Yeah, he's the president. It's his official account. By law, all those posts have to be gathered.
We've heard
right?
it before.
Right. So why would he be framing a grand jury against Brennan or any of these people, Obama, when he could be tainting a jury? So again, take a step back, because he's not stupid either.
So I like what Sean Joe said in the pill chat. I don't know if you could address that. He said he thinks burn bags could also be blackmail bags, not necessarily a good guy.
No,
what do you think?
they're actually, burn bags are an actual thing.
Yeah.
I've used them. They're numbered. There's a full chain of custody. You sign them out. They get signed back in. When those bags in that lot go for destruction, that whole chain of custody has to be reviewed. So you answered the question how this block of burn bags was never looked into, and they've been collecting for years. There's evidence or information from Cash, especially. Some of this information goes back to the 90s with Durham. So who's collecting? Remember when Durham started, the avenging angel that took on the FBI? That was under Louis Freeh in the 90s. He continued under Mueller. When Mueller was FBI director, that investigation was still going on.
Another thing I think might need to be said here, and don't let me say, I'm not speaking for Feisty. She can either back it up or she can challenge it. I think what should be the takeaway here is that Feisty is by no means, the way I see it, lauding somebody like a Comey. I don't think she's saying he's good or even bad for that matter.
I'm not saying either way.
Okay.
I don't think it's my right to do that.
All right. So I would avoid, if I were you, by going down the good or bad camp.
Stay away from the black hat, white hat. I've said it for years.
Yeah.
And here's a big thing. When you've got all this attention on the court of public opinion.
That's hard for folks to do, by the way.
Yes, but court of public opinion has ruined many lives. Just going to point it out. And it is a routine that is used religiously to taint cases.
To subvert the once revered ability in America to be presumed innocent until proven guilty. In America, you have the right to be presumed innocent until proven guilty.
Right.
And
unless, of course, because Nancy Pelosi flipped that on its ear when she said now Trump has to prove his innocence. No, that's backwards.
Yes. That's subverting our Constitution right there.
Right.
Or the Bill of Rights. So.
And what were they trying to do? What was the reason for that statement? To force Trump to talk. Why? Because everything you say can and will be used against you.
Yes. So
if they can get Trump to say something, they can collect that information. What did Trump do? It's pretty quiet. I know he had a gag order from the New York cases, but he was relatively quiet through all of that, if you recall.
Yep. Right.
So I'm just saying, that's why I want to go through this timeline, and I'm going to share my screen now because I think before we run out of time, if I can show you just some of this timeline, right? There's no video or anything, and I'm going to warn everybody, these aren't cool AI slides. It's literally from an old dig that I went through and I tried to update with information since 2021 time frame. Okay. So this deck starts with the obvious. Our movement is about replacing a failed and corrupt political establishment for those who control the levers of power in Washington, and for the global special interests our campaign represents a true existential threat. It's a true statement.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And it started something that I think a lot of people have had difficulty keeping up with. Okay, so if you go back to John Durham, Q started on October 28, 2017. That happens to be the same day that John Durham was appointed, right, by Sessions.
Mm-hmm.
John Durham's history goes back to the 90s when he started investigating the FBI. What was that about? Every time they tried to do a raid and apprehension of somebody affiliated with the mob, somebody inside the FBI tipped them off. And that's what started Durham's investigation. That goes back to the 90s. And he's forever known as the avenging angel that took on the FBI. November 5th, 2017, just days after, about 7 days, a week later, there's a Q post about the St. Michael prayer. Put the two together. The avenging angel, St. Michael, avenging angel took on the FBI. That is obviously the fact that Durham was brought on board. Now, for those that were following the Q post, that wasn't easily evident until 2019 when they updated Durham's wiki to show the September 28th start date. It was never in there.
Why would Wikipedia do that?
Because it's dynamic, you can update it. But the day he started,
yeah, but only certain people can update
originally appointed, was never in his bio in there.
Okay.
And when Barr appointed him, made it a criminal probe, suddenly that date shows up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what is the Russia investigation really about? And I think that's another thing that people need to understand. There's been this global spying operation that was highly documented and highly evident during Trump's whole first term. These are, like I said, these are old slides, so forgive me. There's information that I could add to these easily, and I did today, added a couple. But what we're showing here is that obviously the UK was the center of operations because of the Five Eye network.
Yeah.
Right. So center of operations is City of London. Not a quinky dink, right? But they're coordinating between the U.S. and the City of London. She says to remember Towell. Towell is the guy that offered Papadopoulos the $10 million. If you remember,
$10,000.
Was it 10,000? I thought it was 10 million.
You can't jump on an international flight with $10,000. It will be audited.
And it was because of Simona that he put it into a safe deposit box rather than hold on to it.
His wife,
because it was a trap.
Yeah.
Well, she wasn't his wife at the time.
That's right. That's right.
She wasn't his wife at the time.
Yeah.
We know some of the information is accurate because Lovinger actually testified to it. So he was a whistleblower that said that the whole FBI Russia probe was a setup, which everybody laughed at the time.
Wow.
Okay,
it's not a laughing matter. I don't get it.
It's not a laughing matter.
Wow.
So I'm also going to point out we've got a Q post 1828 that gives us the domestic spy operation. So remember, if you have a domestic spy operation, the players are committing treason. If you have a global, you're committing an act of war. And what did they do? They leveraged Kleinsmith to get the Carter Page FISA. That's leveraging bias. That's why I keep warning people, be careful of your bias.
Oh, yes. Because there was a lot of people outraged. And I get the outrage. I was even outraged. I was even outraged with the Kleinsmith. It seemed like he got the sweetheart deal.
Well, he not only got a sweetheart deal, but he got his law license back after Biden came into office.
Yeah.
But think about Papadopoulos, not Papadopoulos. Think about Danchenko and Sussman. They were both acquitted, if you recall.
And then you also consider right after that, or somewhere near around that, you had Peter Strzok getting paid off. Mm-hmm. Him and Lisa Page getting paid off.
They got paid
over
off
$1 million each.
From that likely fund Trump talking about?
I more than understand, and I was even outraged, and not really outraged, but you know what I mean.
Several years ago, I want to say back in 2018, I started working a timeline. So you're going to see differences in these different timelines because they're accumulated over time.
Yep.
But what I did is I started digging. When did they know about Carter Page? Obviously, they knew about him back in 2009. They had in their files something about Russia in 2013, but they knew that Carter Page was
but they used him anyways.
They used him anyway. Then we got the email account in March of 2015.
There's a WikiLeaks.
This wasn't WikiLeaks yet.
Okay.
What ended up happening here is because they were the Hillary Clinton emails. Remember the hitting the hammers on the cell phones? Remember they were trying to get rid of all of her
The hard
emails?
drives, smashing the hard drives with hammers.
Well, it comes to find out, Platte River had been putting all her emails on the cloud. And
You mean wiping it with a cloth? Is that what you mean?
Right.
No.
But come to find out, everything she did was already in a cloud service, and I'll show that on another slide. But what was really interesting in July, the IG he's from the IC, right? He's doing his annual audit, preparing for his annual audit, and they ended up making a referral to Charles Cable. Charles Cable also goes by the name of Sandy. Had two sworn declarations from the IC where they determined that 22 emails from the Clinton collection were classified.
Wow.
And what they had done is they had removed the classification label, but for those that don't
to protect
know,
her or to cover her ass?
well, if they removed it, they thought if they removed the classification label that would protect it. No, it's not the label.
You can't.
It's the content,
Yeah.
right? You can't just remove the label. But anyway, they swore two declarations to Charles Cable, who was at the Washington field office. Okay, and that's what officially 4 days later started the mid-year exam on the Clinton emails. The OLC on July 20th of 2015, they're saying that allowing the DOJ FBI to refuse IG access. So they're already backing up, trying not to allow IGs into their servers, into their information.
Mm-hmm.
This was back in 2015, by the way, a huge deal where the IGs were saying, hey, we can't do our job. And that came out of the Obama administration. But what it does, and this is where it's a big deal, is it legally allows the DOJ to withhold grand jury information, wiretap information, national security letters. They can withhold all of that, regardless of what court proceeding. Q asked about what about national security letters. Sally Yates, who you remember was fired, was enforcing that with everything she had.
Yep.
By July 27th, you get the DNC hack. This plays into this. DNC began within weeks of Trump announcing his candidacy. We get this DNC hack, which CrowdStrike immediately said, it's the Russians, I tell you. Turns out it's an inside job. And WAPO put out a report that the FBI was looking into the security of her private email. There you're setting up a Russia narrative, right? That it's the Russians that, if they got into the DNC, they're getting into Clinton's emails.
But boy, is it still weak.
This is
very weak.
2015.
Yeah.
Okay, we're just starting to twist things.
At that
Why?
point, did they have any intentions on trying to pin this on Trump at that point, though?
No, what they're doing is setting up a narrative, but their big issue is Hillary Clinton is weakened.
But
She's
why
their
were they
presumptive-
setting up the narrative, though?
Because Hillary Clinton was their presumptive candidate for office.
So,
For president.
so insurance.
And this cloud about her emails is a heavy weight.
But again, I'm failing to understand
this is an
why they would
excuse.
need this, though, at that point.
Because this makes her a victim.
Or does it make her controlled?
That too, but it makes her a victim of anything, right? DNC and Clinton are both victims of the Russians in their espionage.
Who's perpetrating it?
And this is coming straight out of our government, baby.
So this is the deep state.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to control Hillary at the
What
time.
was interesting, if you listen to or read the testimony from this guy, Yared, I'm just going to say Yared, he did testimony, and he was saying he was running the help desk for the DNC. And the FBI, who assumed or made the declaration that it was the Russians that were infiltrating, didn't tell DNC leadership. They called the help desk. Why would they do that? And they got him to download, I can't remember the software offhand, but they got him to download the software to look for any fingerprints, okay? At the time, with the DNC hack, the FBI did not gain access to that server. Why? Because Sean Henry, who also is a part of CrowdStrike, who had set up the cyber unit at the FBI, was heavily respected and relied on. So Sean Henry's no longer with the FBI. He's working with Dmitry Alperovich at CrowdStrike.
Okay.
And so they kept this out, and it was Dmitry Alperovich that said it was a Cozy Bear attack, which is a hacking group out of Russia. Okay?
Yeah.
I'm just going to keep going. Let's talk about Sandy Cable, Charles Cable. He's a longtime FBI, and I'm sorry, I've got an issue here when I brought it over. Kept changing my font. When you look at Charles Cable, you got to look at him from the perspective of, is he a good guy, bad guy, potential? You got to try to size up who he is, right?
Yep.
And I did look into him, and what's interesting is where his history went, right? He just doesn't come, and I'm fixing my slides, so bear with me so you can see the whole thing. There you go. So he was the one who received the 2 referrals from the IG.
Okay.
He opens up the mid-year exam. He's the one that was then he was in charge of the counterintelligence. Comey replaces the head of counterintelligence with Charles Cable.
Okay.
Okay. So he's doing what he's supposed to be doing, and he immediately started papering DC for document preservation orders on the Hillary Clinton emails. He is the one that opened up the case against Hillary Clinton. This is his. And he explains it in this document. This comes out of a FOIA, by the way. So it was opened by Sandy Cable on July 10th. And then by September, things start changing. This is where it gets interesting. This is the cover sheet for FISA, by the way.
Okay.
Notice he opened up a multi-subject full investigation that was espionage. Okay. So investigating a person under sensitive investigative matters, preliminary or full, whether it's a full or preliminary investigation, requires DOJ counsel to approve. And it's got to get White House approval.
Oh, really?
Why? Because there's an international component to it.
So this involves the CIA.
You've got to get DOJ counsel, and you got to get White House coordination. They've got to notify. They got to keep them up to date. And here it says, it's hard to read it, I know, the counterintel section is opening a full investigation based on specific articulated facts provided by an 811, which is an espionage referral from the Inspector General of the Intelligence Community dated July 6th regarding the potential compromise of classified information. Now, why is this important? They found, in the course of going through this, they found that all but 2 emails went through an email address called Carter Heavy Industries, which was or is a Chinese-owned heavy equipment company in Alexandria, Virginia. And what you find out later is it's spoofed, right? It actually was going to her server in Chappaqua. Okay, keep going. I know I'm going fast, but I don't want to waste time. So, to detect, obtain information about, or prevent or protect against federal crimes or threats to national security. This is the mid-year exam. This was serious.
Okay.
This wasn't just anything.
Yeah.
And Hillary Clinton, her emails were widely discussed in the news, but the fact that this investigation was opened at this level wasn't widely reported.
Okay.
And it's a counter intel espionage. It's an 811 referral, espionage referral.
Mm-hmm.
That requires coordination with DOJ. And remember, he's FBI. It requires coordination with DOJ counsel as well as the White House.
Mm-hmm.
Just keep that in mind. We learn about the email address, right? What we find here is that ClintonEmail.com was actually registered back in 2009. Interesting.
2009.
Where was she at that? In 2009, she was Secretary of State.
Oh.
So from the beginning of her tenure as Secretary of State.
What year was Benghazi?
2011.
Yeah.
Right before the election. The second.
Yep.
So Justin Cooper is the guy that registered the server. We find out that Pagliano got the certificate for it on it was re-upped on February 5th, 2012.
Okay.
Platte Rivers re-upped it again in September of 2013.
Okay.
We also found out later on that all of those emails, although Platte River didn't know it, all of those emails were being stored on the cloud. That came out in 2015-16.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so we also know that Justin Cooper is a JD, his personal assistant to Clinton. He helped form the Clinton Foundation Global Clinton Initiative and the Clinton Family Foundation. Cali Mayer LLC shares the same address. That's his company that he formed as the Chappaqua address, right?
Yep.
We've got the founder and CEO of Foxcroft Strategy Group. He's a government contractor. Senior advisor at Decision Sciences Corporation. Previously served as senior advisor to Teneo Holdings, which is Doug Band, who was Clinton's lawyer, staff attorney. So we've got all these political insiders setting up this. Starting in 2009, I'm also going to point out this comes out of the FBI FOIA. They knew all this. Doesn't look good so far, right?
Yeah. This does
Keep
look good.
going. So we get a letter about the Clinton email investigation. This is written by Strzok and Maffa under Pre-Step in July of 2016.
Okay.
The first one is written. There's another letter written by Cable. Cable gets moved. The DOJ initiated a review on January 12th of 17. So the Horowitz starts looking into this email situation starting in January of 17.
That's right. He was the Inspector General at the time.
Right. So we have a problem.
He's still in there, too, matter of fact, isn't he?
Yes. So now we have a problem. This is the Obama Gate, right?
Okay.
These are going back to my slides. If you have the Steve Linick letter, by the way, he was fired in May of 2020 by Pompeo, if you recall. And Trump's comment was, hey, he should have been fired a lot sooner. My nearest understanding, based on all the FOIA material that I read, and this is over 4,000 pages of FOIA in that drop, it looks like Linick may have been leaking the information, even though the preservation letter warned him against doing that. He was telling somebody something about it.
Okay.
So it's interesting because this is September. He gets papered. Then shit hits the fan, right? We find out the NSA at the same time, from November 15 to 2016, they're beginning to find out that the 702 database was being grossly abused.
Wow.
Okay, November 2015, DNC told data transmitting to Russia. Remember?
Yep.
Russia.
Yep.
Who's doing that? They're saying it's a Cozy Bear hack, Dmitry Alperovich, who's working with Sean Henry.
Yeah.
Because of Sean Henry's good regard,
I got a
they
cousin
didn't
named
give
Sean Henry.
the DNC did not give up the servers.
Yeah.
Right? So anything that they said was the gospel. That's happening in November of 2015, the DNC hack. And this is all lining up the problem. At the same time, you got Mifsud at LCI
Oh, how could
LP,
you forget him?
right? Mifsud happens to be there in November of 2015. Well, that's interesting because Papadopoulos was one of their directors until 2016.
Really?
From February to April of 2016. We got Mifsud, and then here we go, February to April, right?
Hey, by the way, I got to shout out to Trump Country USA. Holy goodness. Just dropped a $40 Rumble rant.
Oh, my goodness.
It says, love you two together.
We love us together, too.
Yes. And thank you, Trump Country. And damn good to see you out there. Hope you're doing well. Hope you had a good weekend. And thank you for the love. Sorry, go ahead.
So another thing that happened on December 7th is Trump and Clinton, and this is not the actual picture. This is from this is from 2013 lunch they had in the Rose Garden. There's an undocumented, it's not on the official calendar, but it did come out, that the two of them had lunch at the White House on December 7th, 2015. Okay? It was a 90-minute lunch. It was not on the president's schedule. So I just popped that in there because what I'm about to show you is going to start to really shift things. December to June, we have Bennett had never heard of Papadopoulos, so he says. Papadopoulos works with the Carson campaign. He had already said that he wanted to work with Ben Carson, who was running for president.
Yep.
Ben Carson had stepped out, so then he applied to work with the Trump campaign.
Yep.
So this
and he
is,
was in the energy industry before, if I'm not mistaken, right?
But he's also referred to by some in this scheme as, quote, the idiot that wants to please. So I don't know what the truth of that story is. The fact that he didn't figure out that Simona had to tell him the $10 million was a trap lends me to believe that. And I did read Papadopoulos' book. He was a bit immature. Naive, I guess would be a good word.
I still see evidence of that sometimes.
Yeah, he's still there.
Yeah.
And thank God for Simona. She kept him.
Yeah, not that he's a bad guy or anything. He just...
I'm not saying he's a bad guy.
Yeah.
He's just not quick on his feet.
Yeah.
Carter Page then gets set up. In early 2016, we got wiretapping. They were looking at the espionage case against Victor. I cannot say his name.
Pinchuk?
He's a Russian. No, it's not Pinchuk. Podbany. He's an intel agent.
Victor Pododny.
He was eventually charged by the DOJ. They were wrapping this up.
I think the B is a D. Pododny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Pododny.
Pronounced as a D, I think.
Okay. Anyway, in that case, Carter Page's name comes up. So they knew about him. This is from 2013. And so they know that he's in there. So they started targeting Carter Page right away.
Okay.
Because they had a Russia connection.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You can see where they're developing this.
Right.
January, February, we get Papadopoulos is set up. And that's where Halper comes into the story, by the way. He was transitioning away. He was trying to get on the Trump campaign. And Mifsud is the key person that starts to bring him out into the open. Mm-hmm. Then we got emails where Deripaska visits the U.S. They're trying to flip Deripaska to find out about Russia's counter-espionage activities. He doesn't flip. It failed. In March, we got both of these two individuals along with others, joined the Trump campaign, and immediately we have a Title I FISA being drafted against Carter Page. This is March of 2016. But it didn't go very far yet. It doesn't actually get published until October.
Okay.
So in March, we got Brennan goes to Moscow to talk to his counterpart over there, right? He's in Moscow to meet with Russia's FSB, right? He coincided with Vladimir Putin's surprise announcement to withdraw a portion of combat forces from Syria. Do you see the back channel?
Yep.
Then we got March 19th. Guccifer claims to have hacked Podesta's emails. Guccifer turns out to be a fake, remember?
Yep.
Guccifer 2.0 is a fake. And then this is Cozy Bear. We got March 21st. was when Carter Page joins the campaign. And then Manafort joins on the 28th. We then have grounds to go after both of these guys. Right?
Mm-hmm.
I got something to show you about a chalupa email. Soon as Manafort joins the campaign, the very next day, she notifies the DNC that she's gonna go to Ukraine and collect all the dirt she can find on Manafort. Okay, Chalupa is a DNC contractor.
Yep. She got in
You
big
remember
trouble, didn't
this,
she?
right?
Yeah, didn't she get in big trouble, Chalupa?
Well, they put her under scrutiny. I haven't seen her indicted. If she is, I don't know about it. WikiLeaks, May to July of 22. The reason why I brought out May is because Papadopoulos meets with the Australian High Commissioner, Downer.
Okay.
Julian Assange is Australian.
Yep.
Okay. So he meets with Downer, and Downer is a part of the global spy op. And then on the 22nd of July, WikiLeaks begins publishing Podesta's emails. And what the FBI's way of getting around this is they were saying that Julian Assange negotiated or somehow had a wraparound with Russia to produce those, that Julian
Seth
Assange...
Rich.
Well, we're not going to mention him yet, right? But they're saying that Russia was going to publish those emails,
Okay.
but that Julian Assange convinced them that he had a bigger audience.
Okay. Yep.
So Russia gave those emails to Julian Assange. That's the original story. That's why I'm bringing it up.
Okay.
Julian Assange came out and said, well, yeah, that's not true. He also said that it was a young guy that gave him the information, which most of us believe, although he's never said out loud, most of us believe is Seth Rich.
Yeah.
But I'm going to take you down a path here because I want to show you the Chalupa story in a moment. April 1st, we have the Carter Page investigation opened. The DNC servers are hacked, not noticed until April 28th of 2016. So we know that they're hacked on the 18th, but it wasn't noticed for 10 days.
Mm-hmm.
But it's interesting because what's interesting about this part of the story is that we indicted, through the Mueller investigation, we indicted those Russians. When the Mueller report came out, they countersued the U.S. government, but because what was in the Mueller report didn't match their indictment, which was under seal.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep.
So, and we dropped the case. So it already puts CrowdStrike and Perkins Coie on the hot seat, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Because they're the brokers. Glenn Simpson's wife, Mary Jacoby, visits the White House. That's on April 19th. April 25th, we got FBI and DOJ attorneys meeting at the White House. These are the people that were in that meeting. Take note: Baker, Anderson, Gower.
No relation.
Lynch. Yeah, not you.
There's a couple
right?
different James Bakers too.
Yeah, it's kind of becoming like a Smith.
Yeah.
You got Brad Wingman, Rosenstein, Norman Christopher Hardy, and Iris Land. These are the people that are in that meeting.
Not to be confused with Rod Rowe, by the way. This is
this isn't Rod Rosenstein. This is a different person. He was within DOJ.
Yeah.
But these are the people that are meeting April 25th, 2016.
Oh, hey, we're being raided. 412.
Very nice.
Yes, welcome in, Patriots. Shout out to Adel. Good to see you, bro.
So on April 26th, Isakov's lawyer reveals about the Manafort-Deripaska connection.
Yep.
Isakov is a reliable, he's fed information and reliably posts articles about it. So he's talking about the business dealings with Oleg Deripaska, which is really interesting. Let me give you a little bit quick background. Deripaska bailed out Manafort. And part of the deal was that Manafort was supposed to help him with this big TV deal in Russia.
For anyone who doesn't know, Oleg, if you don't maybe it's because it's been a while since we revisited, since we've entertained this.
Mm-hmm.
So
he's a Russian oligarch.
He's a Russian oligarch, essentially, right? Any relation or any association with Putin, you think?
Somewhat. I mean, Putin's related, he's got association with all of his oligarchs because they were, up until 2010, they were running the country. Remember when Russia came out of their own, when communism fell?
Yep.
The oligarchs took over all the industry.
Yep.
And that's that famous video from 2010 where he says, "Give me back my pen."
Yep.
Because they started offshoring industry and not paying their employees, and Putin went in and said, "You will pay them by the end of the day."
To Oleg's face.
Well, it wasn't just Oleg; it was all the oligarchs. Yes. And then he notices that Oleg Deripaska
there was an
didn't
uncomfortable
sign.
situation between Putin and wasn't it Oleg Deripaska?
He called Oleg a cockroach.
To his face, right?
To his face, yes.
I love that clip.
Yeah, I love that clip myself. So anyway, Oleg had bailed out Manafort. When that TV deal, though, fell through, it lost Oleg millions of dollars, and there's nothing but animus between them since. So the thought, I mean, you would think he would be all in on getting dirt on Manafort, but he still refused.
Yep.
He still refused. April 2016, Brennan receives intel from Baltic State Intelligence Agency. Now, just so you know, reliably, the Baltic State, you tell them, "I need this document," they'll say, "Yes, sir." And off it goes, right? So there's the Brennan is talking about how he got intel about Russia and Trump collusion.
Just to remind everybody too, there's a reason why Feisty is while we're reviewing
the
timeline of not just Russiagate but Crossfire Hurricane as well, and you're going to get to it. She's going to get to it at some point.
What I'm doing now is going to 2016 because what has happened, if you go back,
Yep.
It was all about the mid-year. It started to shift in early 2016 to be about Crossfire. And the first thing they do is they do the setup of who they're going to target, right?
Yeah.
Do you see the setup?
Yeah.
They're targeting people that would be inside the Trump camp
Right.
that they could go after. And then they launched the plan by March, April timeframe to change it from the mid-year exam, the email investigation,
Yes.
to Crossfire Hurricane.
And she's bringing it back to today where you got
Right.
Comey, nobody's homie Comey, front and center.
Right,
He's
this is
staring
why I
at a
can't wait to
federal
show you some
indictment,
stuff.
grand jury indictment, guys. So this is going to come full
So-
circle.
We now, if we come through this, we know that Perkins Coie then hired Fusion GPS in April 2016.
Yep.
You know Fusion, right? They're the
Yep.
ones that were getting all the dirt. You got Olga has 4 meetings with Department of State personnel. Olga was paid. She paid Doug Cohen for these meetings. They tried to use this to show Doug Cohen was doing something wrong, but his FARA application was accurate. And her goal was to get meetings with Department of State personnel. I put it in here because it was a lot of talk about it back in the day. But there's an accurate FARA. Chalupa goes to Rep. Marcy, becomes her assistant, right? Marcy Capitor. She confirmed that after Manafort's hiring was announced, she discussed the possibility of congressional investigation.
Marcy Captor, she's the one that, shout out to Majewski, J.R. Majewski, who is now set up over on Pilled. That's who his opponent was. This woman has been in office for a long time. She's arguably one of the longest tenured congresswomen
Than
than anybody else. Yeah, he should. I feel like she stole it from him too.
Well, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Well, but Chalupa knew to go to her
Yeah.
to get Congress to start
I didn't know
investigating
that.
Manafort.
Wow, I didn't know that. Okay.
So Chalupa's talking to her to start a congressional investigation into Manafort.
So this is the setup.
Yeah, this is like I said, we're
The setup Manafort.
This is the plan
so they
is
can tie it
launched.
to Trump.
Right.
And
Then
prior
you
to
get-
this, they were setting all this stuff up before Trump, though, in order to stick it to Hillary. But then once
So Trump comes down the escalator in June of 2015. At the same time, you've got these two, early July, you've got these two referrals from the IC. the ICIG, right? The intelligence community IG, about Hillary Clinton's emails. So Trump is coming down the escalator and they're opening up, and she's running for president, right? And they're opening up an espionage investigation against Hillary Clinton because of these emails. They got a huge problem. Trump, Hillary Clinton's got bad juju.
Who has a huge problem?
The deep state.
The deep state has a huge problem. Really?
Because their candidate that they think they can control, right?
Yep.
Hillary Clinton has bad juju over her head. She, you know, the fact that there were SAP.
That's what they want, though.
No, well, they didn't want it public. And they know darn well Trump is going to use it to his full extent. They didn't want it all public. They don't mind holding it over her.
Yeah, but Trump didn't know this at the time.
It was already coming out. The issue with the Hillary Clinton emails has been around since she left Department of State in, 2013. So it's not a new issue.
I see what you're saying. Okay.
We already had the issue about her emails and turning them over. We already knew about the preservation order, and instead they took a hammer to all those devices. We already knew about BleachBit, right? All of this is known.
It's usually called obstruction of justice, but okay.
Right. So if you know about all of this about the emails, and now Trump's coming down the escalator, that's a no shit moment by definition. Especially since he said our movement is about, right?
Yep.
Okay.
And I suspect the notion of they never thought she would lose is going to plays a role in some of this that you're
all
laying
of this
out right now.
So their goal at this point, and they first of all they got to get rid of cable, which they do soon. Their goal is to all hands on deck. We got to protect Hillary, and in the meantime, they took the mid-year exam, flipped its narrative, and made it about Russia collusion. And I just showed you, and there's more. I could do more slides on this of all the intricate players, but I'm just showing you there was a steady plan and role here to make sure Trump didn't get across the finish line and that Hillary Clinton became president. They needed her to be president.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because of the whatever they held. So Chalupa is now getting Congress involved. April 13th, Mueller and Zebley became Mueller's top, what's the word for it? Is
what, top cop?
Well, on the Mueller investigation, the Mueller special counsel.
Yeah.
This is in 2016.
Okay.
13 months before we have special counsel announced. They were at the White House. So you got Mueller and Zebley meeting at the White House with Justin Cooper. No.
What?
Met with Justin Cooper. Key aide managing ClintonMail.com infrastructure. And Stephanie Osborne didn't meet with Obama, met with Deep State.
Wow.
She was the executive director of Obama's Intelligence Advisory Board.
So Mueller and Aaron Zebley went to the White House to meet with Deep State actors who are managing
over top the email.
Who are managing Hill Dog's email.
Right.
Okay.
So 5 days later, NSA discontinues FBI DOJ private contractor access. Remember, they found out that there was this unfettered access to the 702 database by uncleared contractors. When Rogers found out about it, he immediately cut off all that access.
Mike Rogers?
Mike Rogers, NSA director.
Yeah. Okay.
Immediately, this is back in April of 2016.
Wow.
We already know there are abuses in the 702.
And then it was after this that he went to Trump to tell him that he's being spied on.
We still got 6 months, 8 months before that.
Okay.
April 26th, we got Mifsud going to Papadopoulos, and he offers the dirt on HRC.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the famous Papadopoulos bragging about dirt, right? That's the famous one about that. And what is he saying? Is Mifsud tells him he heard Russia has dirt on HRC.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Papadopoulos takes that information and starts talking about it. And he tries to get a direct meeting between Trump and Putin. Tries to establish that.
Mm-hmm.
This is April. DNC server logs sent to the FBI per request through the help desk, right? We find out that they don't have access to the servers. We find this out. Deripaska, through Waldman, has Fusion GPS hire Christopher Steele. This is April 2016. Do you see how we're just kicking everything in? April's like the big go date, go live date. DNC to Michael Sussman, to Sean Henry, to CrowdStrike. You got Amy Dacey spoke with Michael Sussman, right?
Yep.
Amy Dacey, CEO of the DNC.
I don't remember that name, but.
Well, that's who Chalupa sent that email to about getting dirt on Manafort. So Sussman contacted Sean Henry. He was at the time security officer at CrowdStrike, but the access was not able to, FBI could not gain access to the servers. So why is that important? Because Sean Henry is the person who, when he was at the FBI, set up the cybersecurity task force, the section. So when Sean Henry said, "Don't worry, I got this," they're like, "Cool, we know Sean Henry, he's good egg." So they didn't push for it.
Mm-hmm.
Now you've got a server that I believe is still in Ukraine, by the way. You got a server that was collecting all this information that is a part of CrowdStrike. And by the way, Sean Henry also is D4 Labs, which is a part of Open Society Foundation. Papadopoulos thanks Masood and Struck. And there's another intercept capability here. And now we've switched from the Patriot Act to wire carrying current. Since they can no longer use the Patriot Act for legal intercept, they instead tapping into this other form of intercept. They're using Title I, right? Instead of the other. So that they're starting to put this together. By May, you've got Papadopoulos meeting with the FFG.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You've also got WikiLeaks. This is a big story, the Chalupa piece and how it plays right in to Trump becoming the nominee.
Yep.
So once Manafort is brought in as the campaign strategist, he was a pretty good campaign strategist from near as I can tell. Brought in as a campaign strategist, it was all effort to get him off the campaign, which they managed to do. She starts working with Isikoff the day before Trump is declared the presumptive nominee.
Did he work with Bannon? Manafort? Because wasn't Bannon a campaign strategist as well?
Yes. Probably did.
I wonder if there's a relationship there. There must be. Okay.
There must be. Helper invitations to both Papadopoulos and Page. Helper is, our foreign guy, right?
I was going to say, I thought it was Helper who set up Papadopoulos, but
Mifsud is the original.
Okay, Mifsud, no.
Mifsud is who told Papadopoulos about he heard Russia had dirt on Hillary.
Yeah.
So that's all that needed, and then all they had to do is get Papadopoulos to repeat that, and then they started. And then Helper jumps in.
He's literally just trying to make a name for himself, and
he's trying to become somebody. So let me talk about Chalupa. May 3rd, 2016.
I like chalupas. Damn it, she ruins the chalupas for me.
I know she does, right?
Damn it.
She's saying, I spoke to a delegation of 68 investigative journalists from Ukraine last Wednesday at the Library of Congress, Open World Society's forum, and they put me on the program to speak specifically about Paul Manafort. And I invited Isikoff, whom I've been working with for the past few weeks, connected him to the Ukrainians.
Open World Society?
Yeah.
Hello?
Right? More offline tomorrow, since there is a big Trump component you and Lauren need to be aware of that will hit in the next few weeks, and something I'm working on you should be aware of. So she then starts digging. What's really funny about this is this email came out as a part of all those dumped emails from the DNC. Remember the DNC server? I think this is funny. How convenient the DNC server was hacked.
Oh, boy.
We see some machinations here.
There it is.
Open Society, of course, is Soros, right? Philip Chuck is the guy there that's working directly with her. And remember, I told you the international.
He's the go-between.
Remember, I
diplomat.
mentioned
Russian.
Mifsud.
He's Russian. No, he's Slovakian.
He's Slovakian. Remember, I mentioned Mifsud and Papadopoulos at ICPS, right? So there you have, you're circling the wagons.
Okay,
is what you're seeing.
All right, yep.
So Manafort becomes the chairman May 19th. They did everything. May 23rd, Rogers testifies on FISA abuse.
Oh, I remember that.
Valley Orr got her ham radio that day.
Yes, I remember that day.
I had to put this, even though it's a year later.
Yeah.
I wanted to put this in because it was through the abuses in the FISA that they started going after Manafort. So Papadopoulos requests Trump-Putin meeting, right? On May 21st, 27th, 28th. Putin is in Greece. The exact same time Papadopoulos is in Greece. You hear Russia, Russia, Russia coming up? Okay. The Mueller team concluded this added smoke, which ultimately led to the formal opening of the Crossfire Hurricane investigation. So they knew in May that they were going to do this. Now, I'm just going to point out, in June, they tried to get a FISA against Trump, specifically using this as a pretext, the Russia, and the FISC uncustomarily denied it, saying that they were using Alpha Bank. So this happens right in here. Brennan is briefed by GCHQ Robert Hannigan. Robert Hannigan, if you recall, is in a Q post. He resigned right after Trump came into office in January 2017. The interesting thing is, why is Brennan being briefed by Hannigan when his counterpart would be Mike Rogers, not Brennan?
It's obvious.
Obvious, right? So Simpson meets with Veskonetskaya. I always get
Veskonetskaya.
Netskaya, right?
Yep.
At the Trump Tower meeting. So she's given a special visa to come in.
Honeypot.
Right. This is the honeypot. And Fusion GPS Simpson meets with her both before and after the meeting. Okay, so you got a connection there. So it was Preet Bharara that gave her the special visa to come do this. Preet Bharara was the
I forgot
go
all
back
about
to 2017.
Yeah.
Trump said he was fired, as you do with all U.S. attorneys, and he fought it publicly, if you recall.
Yes, I remember this very well. I followed this stuff so closely. You know who did cover this very well is Bongino.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I don't
he's got
remember.
a great book on. I would argue he was ahead of all of this before anybody else was. I mean, not before you, I'm saying, but got a good documentation.
He could have been. I mean, he knew more than I did, with his roles. My original dig on this goes back to 2019. Right before the Mueller report came out, we kept saying, there's no Russia. We got to go find the Russia. There's got to be a Russian or two somewhere. So we started putting this together, and we found no Russians. Right?
Yep.
July 26th presser, we got Comey saying no reasonable prosecutor. What's interesting about that, and I've mentioned it before, he had no legal right to do that. Right? He's an investigatory arm of the government. He doesn't make the decision to prosecute or not prosecute. DOJ does. That presser, though, preserves the investigation because he never sent it to DOJ for final closure. Loretta Lynch was never able to close it. And I have been saying ever since, that's a case preservation tactic if I've ever seen one. And he pissed off the Democrats when he did this.
That's why I call him nobody's homie Comey.
Right.
Because he ain't nobody's homie.
He's nobody's homie. But
so the book was called Spygate. It was him and Matt Palumbo.
Okay.
A very good book.
So 4 days later, they Strzok closes the mid-year exam. 4 days after Comey's no reasonable prosecutor, Strzok closes it. Strzok is at the FBI.
Which you can take that statement. No reasonable prosecutor would prosecute this. Which you all know FBI can't. That's not their decision. They can't make that decision.
Right.
But he did. But Sean,
going to the DOJ, do you want to be the staff attorney that's got to prosecute Clinton when everybody's trying to get her elected?
That's what I was getting at. So
Yeah.
so you can take it. You can take it in a couple different ways.
Right.
You can almost say, well, no reasonable human being would do it because the list of human beings that were alive before they decided to do something like
Right.
this ended up dead with two to the back of the head with an extension cord wrapped around their neck and no gun to be found.
Suicided, right.
So you could take it that way, but you could also take it. You could also
take it any way you want. That's why I keep saying try to put your bias on the shelf and do a 180 on every narrative. Try to look at it from all angles.
It quickly got to our emotions because
It does. It becomes very emotional.
You know?
And it's not that I look for the positive or anything like that, but when you ask yourself the opposite question and you can't answer it, it's got to stay on your dots, right? It's got to stay on your timeline.
Yep.
So they closed the mid-year on the 10th, open up Crossfire on the 31st. Okay? That FISA in June was denied, so they had to come up with a different angle. FBI goes running to London on August 2nd, within 48 hours of opening the investigation. Who are they meeting with? Downer. Right?
Yep.
Detailed his May 26th meeting with Trump campaign advisor George Papadopoulos. Providing the foundational evidence the FBI used to justify targeting campaign staff. Okay?
Yep.
August 2016, I don't know exactly which day, but he issued a eyes-only memo to Barack Obama detailing direct intelligence that Putin had personally ordered an operation to disrupt the U.S. election to help Trump and denigrate Clinton.
Right. Okay.
That was a Brennan memo, which gets used. I mean, you can see now we're going to build this is August, we're building our Russia, right?
Yes.
Okay. You got August also is when the Steele dossier is received, right? Throughout August. You got Christopher Steele with all these coordinated media, right? Going to the media with his, and then finally Isikoff puts his out on, I want to say it was towards the end of August, like the third week of August. He puts out the Yahoo report about it. And then you got Stephen Soma does an electronic communications draft about Brennan and Gang of Eight briefing. Brennan began individually briefing the bipartisan committee, information and intelligence that revealed contacts and interactions between Russian officials, Trump associates. So now, remember, we got Chalupa doing an investigation on Manafort, right?
Yep.
Now we've got Congress being brought into the Russia collusion to do an investigation.
Yep.
Okay. Defensive briefing trap. This is the first time you actually hear about Pienka. Pienka is the guy that was to give the briefing to Trump. So Trump, Flynn, Chris Christie were broadly warned about foreign adversaries. Later revealed the FBI actively used this mandatory routine intel briefing as a pretext to gather investigative data. A Crossfire hurricane agent secretly embedded in the room to take notes on Trump and Flynn's physical behavior and verbal reactions when Russia was mentioned, a move critics cite as a severe abuse of official briefing process.
Okay.
That person looks to be Pienka, who actually said Flynn and Trump and them were honest.
So Ivan Raikland, why were you going after Pienka then?
Oh, I don't fully know. Trump top campaign strategist was targeted. So you got Manafort on there, and man, they went hard after him. He finally comes off the Trump campaign. Within days, 5 days, they're effectively removing him of that action. You know, they total media blitz to get rid of him. And then right after that, Brennan calls to the FSB, bypass traditional diplomatic channels to call Alexander, don't even go there, head of Russia's FSB. Brennan explicitly warned him that election interference would change or outrage American voters.
Okay.
Now, when you look at this, what is this framing? The framing directly becomes your intelligence hook, right?
Yep.
So that they can officially confront Russia publicly now. Which
And who was
Obama does.
Who was the ODNI at this time?
This is still Rogers.
Mike Rogers?
Mm-hmm.
He was the NSA director.
Oh, you're talking DNI.
Who was
that was
DNI?
Clapper.
That was Clapper. Okay.
It was Clapper. So Charles Cable gets moved September of 2015. He's moved. But notice this. The most prominent espionage threat to the U.S., they put this out in July of 2015, update it in December of 2015. So we're building narrative, right? Both Cable and Chappell have expertise in Chinese espionage, factor which may have initially contributed to their selection for the Hillary Clinton email team.
I love how you proposed that. I've never looked at it that way, that you're building a narrative. Well, it could be building a narrative, but it could be correcting the record, though, too.
It could be.
Yeah.
But you're also got a narrative being built. This is his LinkedIn. Is he saying he's a pawn? Isn't that what that looks like to you?
That's exactly the piece that it is. It's a pawn.
He's calling himself a pawn.
With no, wow, he took the trouble
And
to
remember,
post
it
a
was
banner.
he and Pienka
Wow.
that started the Clinton email mid-year exam. So I'm just pointing that out.
Oh, that's
so
genius.
September, London Sting Up, it goes live, right?
Yeah.
You got an introductory email. Stefan Halper successfully invites both George Papadopoulos and Carter Page to London. This person goes by the name of Azra Turk. It's a pseudonym.
Oh, yeah.
It's a female FBI agent who was planted in the room.
Yep.
You've got a helper face-to-face. And I want to point out the red box here. During the recording, Halper explicitly asked Papadopoulos if Trump campaign was working with Russia, which Papadopoulos emphatically kept saying no. So they knew this, and it was recorded. Azra Turk is there to record it, right? So he's flat out denying it. On the sidelines at the G20, Obama's doing his duty and telling Putin, you're in deep water if you're hurting our elections. Remember, they set up the narrative here.
Yep.
And here's Obama.
Yep. I'm all caught up. Yep.
Right? So then we get the Alpha Bank story. If you read the Sussman indictment that Durham put out, you would quickly realize that nobody on that team with Sussman believed the Alpha Bank story was anything legit, and that Sussman was being forced to write the Alpha Bank white paper. It's in the indictment.
Yep. Okay.
So this is a parallel track. Sussman, who was representing the Clinton campaign at the time, met privately with FBI General Counsel James Baker at FBI headquarters. James Baker, if you recall, eventually left the FBI and went where? He became General Counsel at Twitter. So Sussman explicitly told Baker he was not bringing this data on behalf of any client, which was the lie. The claim formed the basis of the 2021 criminal indictment by John Durham for lying to the FBI. Because he was bringing it on behalf of a client. So I didn't have room, so I used. So we got a coordinated media blitz with Fusion GPS. Isikoff is at the center. This Wiener laptop seizure story. Everybody goes, what? What does this mean? Wait till I show you what I got. Because this is a big deal. Chelsea Manning's lawsuit reveals quite a few things.
You really thought this was going to be 30, 45 minutes? You were out of your mind.
I'm almost there. I got to stop. I know I do. But
no, you're fine.
They're trying to flip Deripaska. It's not working. But Deripaska has a relationship with McCabe. Back in the day, back in 2009, you've heard about Lewenstein, right? The CIA agent that went missing off of Karg Island?
Yes.
Okay.
Wow, Karg Island. Huh, okay.
Yeah, now that you know exactly where it's at.
Yeah, I didn't at the time.
So there was word that he was in, that he could be found. So McCabe approaches Deripaska, who's a known mobster, to use his own $25 million out of his own pocket to go get Levinson. Okay? Levinson, of course, disappears. It got nixed at the last minute. And in trade for him doing that, that's $25 million. There was a pay for play. then McCabe would grant his visa. It had been pulled because of his mob connections. Bruce Orr refused to give it. Eventually, McCabe does grant the visa, but this is a deal from 2009 that got nixed by the State Department. They said, "Oh hell no, we're not doing that." So we've got all of these things happening all at the same time. This is another known connection. But let me show you something that's quite interesting. So Chelsea Manning is in prison at Fort Leavenworth. He's communicating. You notice I said he.
Yeah,
He's communicating with Julian Assange, and they're hacking into government systems. Okay. After Obama pardons, files a lawsuit against our IC, right? You got DOD, Secretary, FBI, Comey, head of FBI, DOJ, Lynch, head of DOJ, and Clapper, DNI. Okay, this is important to note. It's going after the IC, basically, right?
Right.
So, here's what's interesting. He said the electronic surveillance involving the plaintiff using signal intelligence platforms physically located at U.S. disciplinary barracks, that's Leavenworth, abruptly terminated on October 27th, 2016. Okay? It was moved from Manning to Abaddon.
What? Uma?
Yes.
How?
That's the question I've been asking for years. There's got to be a nexus here.
She doesn't have any authority.
So the connection, I think, we now remember this is October.
She's an assistant.
This is October. These are the Wiener laptop story.
Oh, yeah.
The emails. So they moved the FISA from Manning to Abaddon because they're sure that it's Assange who gave those emails to Abaddon. And if you recall, right after this, it was supposed to be a sealed indictment, but it was accidentally not sealed, remember? We find out about an indictment against Assange right after this. So we know that there's a FISA, but let's go further because this is from the review of various actions, okay? Sean, I want you to read it so you can digest the reading of this section.
On October 26, 2016, McCabe in New York, ADIC, participated in what McCabe described as a, quote, hastily convened conference call with Attorney General who delivered the same message to us, end quote, about leaks with specific focus being on leaks regarding the high-profile investigation by FBI's New York field office into the death of Eric Garner.
Leaks.
This is a look-see. McCabe told us that he, quote, never heard her use more forceful language. Not a look-see, it's a threat.
Well, let me just fill in. She told the New York field office,
if
the
you
FBI,
don't, yeah.
If you say anything, she fired them. She told the New York Police Department, if you say anything, we'll reopen the Eric Garner case.
Yeah.
That's the forceful language he's talking about.
According to New York ADIC's testimony and an email he sent to himself on October 31st, McCabe indicated to New York ADIC that, and a then FBI executive assistant director, in a conversation after Attorney General Loretta Lynch disconnected from the call, that McCabe was recusing himself from the Clinton Foundation investigation. What?
It was already being closed.
Fascinating. According to New York ADIC's email, McCabe told them, quote, he may make a more formal decision at a later time. The New York ADIC stated during his OIG interview, I think McCabe couched it as like, hey, this is not final. I don't know. I think he says he still has to talk as like, hey, did I just talk about it? Okay. New York ADIC stated that he clarified with McCabe that unless McCabe told him otherwise, the New York ADIC would begin reporting to EAD, which is the Executive Assistant Director of the FBI, on the Clinton Foundation investigation. McCabe is excluded from a meeting regarding Clinton emails found on Wiener laptop. Why?
Who was running the meeting? Comey. Comes out in this testimony. Comey had this high-level meeting. McCabe came in to go to the meeting. He was the second in charge. Comey said, "You don't need to be in here." McCabe was livid.
He was?
Yes.
On October 27th, 2016, at 10 a.m., Comey held a meeting with the Clinton email investigation team to discuss obtaining a search warrant for a set of Clinton-related emails that the FBI had discovered on a laptop belonging to one Anthony Little Weiner, and taking additional steps in the Clinton email investigation. Special counsel attended the meeting. McCabe was out of town. Sure he was.
But he tried to join via teleconference.
Via Zoom, I'm sure, or something of sorts. Shortly after the meeting began, the then FBI General Counsel suggested that Comey agreed that McCabe should leave the call. You don't need to be here. Comey told us that he asked McCabe to drop off the call, and McCabe was, let's just say, very unhappy about it. Yeah. Special counsel also left the meeting after discussions between FBI and department leadership on October 28th, 2016. Comey sent a letter over department objections, over the DOJ objections, informing Congress that the FBI was taking additional steps in the Clinton email investigation.
So what's the date again?
October 28th.
27th, 28th,
right?
26th, 27th.
The election.
This is when he came out publicly and said he was reopening the email case because of these emails on the Wiener laptop.
Sean and Feisty, he did nothing about it.
Well, it did put a bug in people's ears. We got Uma Abedin. Clinton, because she has a FISA, she's grounded. So she's grounded as of the 27th, right? So Clinton did not campaign that final week because Uma Abedin had been grounded with that FISA. It's a no-fly. Then you've got Comey holding this meeting about the emails, then says publicly he's reopening it. This is the final days before the election. The Democrats were pissed because they believe that that was enough to peel votes away from Clinton and onto Trump.
You think they were right?
Yeah, I do. It was widely talked about. People are going, what the hell's going on?
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
So that takes us back, and I'm just going to go through. I know we're really late. The lawsuit is October 2nd of 2016. Then they started clandestinely searching Chelsea Manning's cell in Leavenworth on October 3rd. Drops the lawsuit on the 2nd. They start going after and doing searches on the cell on October 3rd. And then on October 7th, it comes out, it's Russia, I tell you. They secure a rare joint public statement officially blaming Russian government for cyber attacks. This is October 7th, just days. This is less than a month or about a month before the election. And then you got the counterintelligence collision because we got the FBI field office, a complex operational simulation at Fort Leavenworth, attempting to entice Manning into escape scenario to test her intelligence networks. And that's where Julian Assange comes in. And then you got the mid-year tensions rise, right? They want a formal search and a warrant because of the laptop. This is all leading up to that. So I'm just showing you. Then you get the shock letter that he's overriding everybody on the 27th and he's reopening the case. You can't, when you see this, this doesn't even get us to November. Remember, in October is when they finally get the FISA against Carter Page. Just days after Rogers, that's on the 21st of October. Rogers briefs the FISC like 5 days later, 26th or so. And in April of 2017, the FISC releases a scathing rebuke on that FISA.
I remember this. Yep.
Right? So I don't have time to go through anymore because it is so late, but I'm asking you to sit back with what I've just shown you in the timeline, and I don't have everything. But there's enough in here for you to say, I think I'm going to take a back seat on this one for a while.
In other words, guys, there's more to this Comey situation than people realize.
Yes.
Than I think people realize. Thank you, Feisty. That was riveting. I didn't know half of that. What you just laid
you
out.
started remembering it as I was pointing it out.
I might
and
even need to listen
I got a
again.
ton more because we still have, I'm into October. We got November and December. There's still like 5 more slides, but I just don't have time. It's 10 till. So we're already late. Sorry.
How dare you? No, you're fine.
Well, I did it. Still, what I did it in 40 minutes. So that's not bad.
No, it's perfect. We're going to raid Johnny in just a moment. Guys, I got a favor to ask from everybody. Please, a personal favor of you guys.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to raid Johnny. I finally convinced Johnny to verify his Rumble account. I want to surprise Johnny. Okay, Johnny puts in a lot of work. Sorry to just quickly transfer over to this from what we were just talking about, but Johnny has worked his ass off for a long time. Now, he hasn't accumulated that many followers over on Rumble. Thankfully, I was able to convince him to verify his account. So I want to see if we can get his account up to 1,000 followers. I want to surprise him with 1,000 followers if we can get there. Okay? We're going to rate him over on Rumble. And he's only sitting at 794 followers right now. So if we can get that up at least to, I'd like to get to 1,000. That might be asking too much. But
we were able to do that with my account in 2 days, if you recall.
In 2 days. And Johnny's had this account for so long, and he's only at 794 followers.
Well, I will admit,
is yours verified?
Verification, yes. Verification matters.
Tremendously helps.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I said, bro, I'll send you I'll send you a couple dollars. Just verify it for crying out loud. And thankfully he did now. So he's got off script going on right now. We're going to rate him over on Pilled as well. Scratching's released over on Pilled. Thank you, Jax, for a cookie. Says, what date was this meeting?
I don't know which meeting.
What date did Q drop for the first time? Oh, damn it. Jax.
Oh, October 28th, 2017.
Oh. A year.
Yeah.
Almost a year to that. Okay, wow. Thank you, Sean Joe, for a cookie. Did I miss anybody else? If I did, I seriously apologize. S. Jones. Hey, S. Jones. Here comes the pay close attention part. With the banger sheets from S. Jones 39. This is another great account to follow. S. Jones, keep up the good work. Thank you to Jax for the cookies. Should I get snacks? I think that's where I ended off last. And shout out to Just Fed Up, took home the lead with 800. S. Jones and Izzy Q came in tied for second place. God bless you guys for your support. Feisty, final thoughts.
Final thoughts. Didn't get through the last 8 slides, but I think I did a pretty damn good job.
8 slides in 45 minutes? You're out of your mind.
I had 8 more to go. But hopefully you got all caught up because it's important.
Yes.
Things are happening quickly now.
Yeah.
Trump put out the calm before the storm post, remember?
Yes.
Okay. You do realize that was the anniversary of the Comey memos. Remember when Comey, I put it out on X. Remember when Comey released his memos to the New York Times?
Mm-hmm.
That was when? May 16th, 2017. The very next day, May 15th, 2017. Mueller. Very next day, Mueller was appointed as special counsel. So it truly was the calm before the storm. It's the anniversary.
You mean the useful idiot, Sean and Feisty? Mueller? Really? The guy who played stupid the entire time?
This is my testimony. Yeah.
This is not my purview.
I got a lot on that, too. And I can bring in old digs for that as well.
It's not my purview, Feisty. That's going to be my excuse when I don't know what you're talking about. That's not my purview.
I understand people have their opinions.
Yeah.
I found too many interesting things that don't properly pair up with the narrative.
Well, it leaves holes.
Leaves it makes more holes, right? It doesn't leave holes, it actually creates more holes. And when it does that, that's the signal to say, I don't know shit.
There's
Sit
more
back
here.
And watch.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So God bless you all. Thank you, Feisty, for yet again another mind blower. And thank you,
everybody.
Yes, thank you everybody for joining. I will see you all tonight at 9:30 p.m. Eastern for America Rising News over on America Rising Media. But again, please rumble everyone. We're gonna go raid Johnny right now. If you could, please do me a favor and follow Johnny, and then I'll hopefully see you all again later on tonight. Thank you.
Have a good night, everybody.
Have a good night, everybody. God bless.
Unmasking the players in the shadowed game, where the silence breaks, the hidden shakes. She names the unspoken, the world away. For those who believe, no words are required. For those who do not, none will suffice.
Welcome to America Rising Media, where it is our mission to spread truth, expose evil, and effect as much positive change and unity as possible. please join us in the chat and let us know your thoughts. Please note that the views and opinions expressed by guests and audience members are their own and do not necessarily reflect those of America Rising Media. We encourage you to critically evaluate all perspectives presented during our broadcast. We appreciate your understanding and support, and thank you for being part of our community.